the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today from North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, it's the first Union 400 Winston Cup race. A cool afternoon in the brushy mountains, 62 degrees. The sun peeks out now and then, but basically skies are overcast and there's a 40% chance of rain. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to North Wilkesboro. What a tremendous race last Sunday at Bristol, Tennessee. Record number of lead changes, nearly a record number of caution periods. And Rusty Wallace went on to win. Now let's take a look at the point standings. The quest for the Winston Cup. You can see that Ricky Rudd has a 119-point advantage on Ernie Irvin. That's the largest lead that any driver had in 1990. Now, the pit rules have once again been changed for this 7th event of the 1991 season. For more on that, here's Ned.
Bob, there are new pit road rules in effect here at North Wilkesboro this week. We're basically back to where we were in 1990, whereas the drivers can come in during caution periods and change tires and do the things they used to do. But the burden is on their shoulders to try to make pit road as safe as possible. They have to come down at controlled speeds and also have to enter their pits very safely, and if they don't, there are severe penalties involved. But Benny, it's going to be a little bit tough on the drivers here today because of the narrow pits.
Ned, it is going to be a problem, and the problems are going to start with this white line. Look at Davey Allison's Ford. It's right before the line. If it was across that line, that's a one-lap penalty. Now, Ned, let me measure this pit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This pit is 24 feet long. I've measured a race car, folks. They are 19 feet long. It's going to be very difficult to fit that race car in this spot.
Only 5 feet to work with. And if they don't get in there just right, NASCAR told them in the drivers' meeting this morning that there will be some penalties involved.
Exactly, Ned. Look at the car here. The right front outside, that is a one-lap penalty. Here, where the car has 2 tires outside the line, that is a one-lap penalty. Now, this position, if there's a car here and a car there, NASCAR knows it's very hard to get this car in. There will be no penalty if the driver was to pull in that way. They understand just how tight it is.
Well, NASCAR knows that there will be some judgment calls to be made here today because of the tight pit situation at North Wilkesboro. There's an advantage to winning the pole besides the money and the prestige that goes along with it, and that is the driver gets to choose his pits early. Brett Bodine had the second choice. Dale Earnhardt, the champion, gets the first choice, and Brett chose a pit right in front of where we're at that has an opening in front of it. That will give him an advantage, especially going out of the pits. Brett is standing by with our John Kernan.
Ned and Benny, Brett won the pole with a lap of 116.237 miles an hour, a bonsai second lap. But Brett, it really shouldn't come as any surprise to anyone that you've done so well here. In fact, you won your first race here right on ESPN last year in the first Union 400.
That's right. You know, whenever you come back to a track that you just won your last event at, you got a lot of confidence coming in. We knew we had to improve our qualifying from the last couple trips here, and we did that. We got on the pole. But, you know, this place has always been good to me. I got my first Winston Cup start with Junior Johnson here, a substitute driving for Terry Labonte, and qualified 5th that weekend. So it really hasn't been a surprise that we ran well this weekend.
A great qualifying run for Brett Bodine. He hopes to follow it up with a great run in today's first Union 400. But an amazing story developing here on pit road. For more on that, let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch.
John, truly an amazing story that this man would even be at this racetrack this weekend. It was 1 week ago, Sunday afternoon, Bristol, Tennessee, lap 421. A piece of metal came out of the left exhaust pipe, cut the left rear tire, and the Maxwell House Ford began to spin, slammed the outside wall in turn 1, and burst into flames. The car backed down across the racetrack, and Sterling Marlin bailed out of the race car with first and second degree burns. 3 days in intensive care, then transferred on Thursday this week to the Vanderbilt University Burn Center, where he's getting excellent care, and is from there that he was flown to Wilkesboro today to get in this race car. And Sterling, for all the fans across the country and us at ESPN, it's good to see you back, my friend, and how you feeling?
I feel good, Jerry. It's good to be back, and, set up here in Bristol Monday. I just wonder if I can get back in the car this weekend, and the burns are healing real good, and I'll probably get released next Wednesday or Thursday, and maybe I can run Martinsville. We'll just have to see how good they're healing, and things look good, so we'll just hang on and see what we'll do. I'd like to thank everybody that sent cards and called, and you wouldn't believe it. The race fans are great, and I just appreciate being here.
A tremendous display of courage by this 33-year-old driver to run one lap today, climb out of the car, and he will leave immediately by ambulance back to Vanderbilt in Nashville, Tennessee, and hopefully to race many, many more Sunday afternoons. Bob?
And a tremendous crowd has turned out to see Sterling in his performance here this afternoon, and the others. Enix Daly and his people here at North Wilkesboro have added more seats around turn number 2. A beautiful facility, and we're ready for Winston Cup racing. Our Speed World coverage of the First Union 400 is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Budweiser, the king of beers with the clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. And we'll be back to take a look more specifically at this racetrack and the starting lineup right after this.
Start your engine.
The cars fire to life on pit road. 33 machines are getting set to go for 400 laps around this 5/8 mile facility here at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Let's take a look at this facility called North Wilkesboro Speedway. It is 0.625 miles in length. The pole speed was 116.237. The time 19.36 seconds. We'll go 400 laps and the field is separated by just a little more than 1/3 of a second. Now, unlike Bristol last weekend, there is only one pit area on the front stretch. And as we said, a 5/8 mile oval. Now let's take a look at the banking. 14 degrees in turns number 1 and 2. And down in the third and fourth turns, also 14 degrees. The straightaway is banked at only 3 degrees. So you can see that they'll be coming from a relatively flat surface onto 14 degrees of banking as they go into the turns here at North Wilkesboro. There's the pole sitter for today's race and the others lined up behind him. And now let's take a look at the die-hard starting grid for today's event. Brett Bodine is the pole sitter in the number 26 Quaker State Buick, qualifying at 116.237 miles an hour. Outside in row number 1 is Alan Kulwicki in number 7. He's from Greenfield, Wisconsin. Kyle Petty is next, starting in third position in the number 42 car. Then on the outside of the second row is Harry Gant from Taylorsville, North Carolina. Rusty Wallace begins in fifth position. He's from St. Louis in the number 2 Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. Outside row number 3, the Citgo Ford, driven by Dale Jarrett. Going to row number 4, it'll be Rick Mast in car number 1. Outside of the fourth row, Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York in car number 11. Ken Schrader from Benton, Missouri starts in the 9th position in car number 25. And then outside row number 5 is Joe Rudman driving car number 75. He's from Upland, California. The current points leader, Ricky Rudd, will start in 11th position. Outside of that 6th row will be Lake Speed from Jackson, Mississippi in car number 66. Row number 7, Darrell Waltrip from Franklin, Tennessee, car number 17, and Jimmy Spencer. The 8th row consists of Hut Strickland in number 12 and Dick Trickle in 34. Going to row number 9, it's defending series champion Dale Earnhardt in car number 3 and Derry Cope in number 10. The 10th row, 24, Mickey Gibbs, and number 6, Mark Martin. The 11th row consists of Michael Waltrip at car number 30 and Ernie Irvin, second in points going into this race, car number 4. The 12th row, Dave Marcus in 71 and Rick Wilson in number 8. As you look at the rest of the starting field, you can see the cars remain on pit road, getting their engines warmed up. It's a little bit cool here in North Wilkesboro this afternoon, so they're giving a little more time to get the engines heated up.
As I was going to say, Bob, you told the folks it was in the 60s, and these cars, it takes 3 or 4 minutes to get them up to operating temperature. What would happen if they didn't get them up to that temperature? The engine would suffer. Something would happen to the bearings or something inside the engine.
We strive to bring you the most exciting pictures here on ESPN, and this should give us an unbelievable view as Dale Jarrett goes around this racetrack. This is the roof cam on his Citgo Ford, and it's positioned right in the middle of the roof on top, and we have seen this thing doing some practice and in qualifying, and it's going to give us a tremendous picture. Also in-car cameras today. In Lake Speed's car, the number 66, Phillips 66 in-car camera. And also in Alan Kulwicki's car as he begins this race from outside of that front row.
I talked to some fans yesterday afternoon after practice, and they said, what's that little green thing on the top of Dale Jarrett's car? And when I told them it was a camera, they said, I thought that might be one of those trick cameras that you people have.
It's going to be great to see the pictures from that little camera mounted on top of the roof. Well, the cars remain on pit road, getting warmed up, set to go for 400 laps of competition. We're glad you could be with us for the First Union 400. We'll be back right after this. And there is the roof cam being carried by Dale Jarrett, and the cars are now in turn number 2. Next time around, they'll be getting the green flag for 400 laps of competition. What normally is our crew cam is not being worn by a crew member today. It's being mounted on the end of a pole, so it'll give you an overhead view of what happens on pit road. And pit road should be very interesting today because, as Ned and Benny told you, essentially we're back to no rules regarding who can come in and win, but rather it is the responsibility of the driver to make pit road safe.
And also, let's note that the fast cars will line up on the outside, the slower cars on the inside on the restarts.
Here we go. The field comes off of corner number 4, being led by Brett Bodine, and the green flag is out. Here we go. By the time they came down to complete one lap, Brett Bodine had the advantage, and he holds it right now as we ride with second place Kulwicki.
When Brett Bodine stood on the accelerator to take the green flag, the rear wheel slip, spun the tires, almost let Kulwicki get the jump. Here's Sterling Marlin in. Jerry Punch.
And as planned, they will take Sterling Marlin out of the car very gently and very gingerly. They have a golf cart standing by to take him back to the garage area. He will get in an ambulance, actually a van. They have now lifted him out. 52-year-old Charlie Glotzback from Sellersburg, Indiana, will climb in the car. Glotzback, remember, drove for Junior Johnson many years ago. Has not run on the radial tires here at Wilkesboro. Had practiced earlier in the week. They are trying to get him in. They have lost a lap here in the pits. They are hooking up his helmet right now. Sterling Marlin does not want to walk away until he makes sure that Glotzback is hooked up okay. Finding the window netting up. Now the car has gone 2 laps down as the leaders now move by. The Maxwell House Ford still in the pits, and Sterling Marlin standing, making sure everything is worked. They will get the car refired. Glotzback will pull away. Mike Beam jumps on the right side. The car now goes 3 laps down.
Sergeant Charlie Glotzback was on the pole for a race here at North Wilkesboro 20 years ago, and the battle on the racetrack right now is for 5th position. That's Rusty Wallace in car number 2, the 42 of Kyle Petty, and the 1 of Rick Mast.
Rusty got off to a slow start, fellas. He started in the 5th position, but dropped back to 6th, and now is trying to work his way back up.
Didn't take Kyle Petty long to get down to the inside once Rusty got by him. The inside, this early going, is still the preferred way, and it probably will be that way all day long. The groove may move up a little bit, but probably will stay on the bottom of the racetrack.
Rusty, the winner last weekend at Bristol.
And he was one of the fastest cars in practice here yesterday afternoon. And looks to be tough today. He's moving up as we watch Rick Mast slip a little bit coming off of turn 2.
And from the 6th and 7th place, we go back up front, and there is Brett Bodine continuing to lead in the Penny Bernstein-owned Quaker State Buick. Harry Gantz closing in on 2nd place, Alan Kulwicki.
This is looking out the rear window of Alan Kulwicki's car at Harry Gant, and Gant's closed up right on the rear bumper.
Gant likes this racetrack. Fits his driving style. Past winner here. Of course, only lives about 20 miles from here in Taylorsville, North Carolina.
Gant started to take a look on the inside of Kulwicki. Decided better of it.
And here comes Rusty Wallace now, moving up on Dale Jarrett, who is running in 4th place. Rusty's car was very fast yesterday in practice. He was able to keep it right down on the inside. He'll be a factor.
Looking to the inside of Jarrett in the 3rd and 4th turns. That's the in-car camera looking back on Rusty Wallace. Now Rusty coming even closer. Dale Jarrett's staving him off at the moment. Meanwhile, it is his battle for 2nd place that's even better than the one we were watching, as Harry Gant and Alan Kulwicki are nose to tail.
Gant got a nose under him going into turn 3, but couldn't make it stick to make the pass.
Looks like Harry Gant is quicker of the two cars now. If he can get by Kowicki, he'll go up and give the 26 car some problems. But first of all, he's got a white number 7 to worry about.
Brett Bodine leads this race by about 8 or 9 car lengths. You're watching the battle for second between Kowicki and Gant. Now the number 4 car is on the move. That's Ernie Irvin.
Yesterday in practice, he was another of those drivers that was running extremely well. Ernie didn't have a very good qualifying run here. Started in 22nd position, but now he is really moving up through the pack.
Ernie second in Winston Cup points. Pulls alongside Joe Ruttman in car number 75, and that's Dick Trickle in 34 just ahead.
That's 12th position that he's trying to take over, so he's already taken 8 positions in just 15 laps.
Good qualifying run for Dick Trickle. Qualified 16th fastest. The car just ahead of Ernie Irvin.
Saw some smoke out of the 75 car.
There's Ricky Rudd, and he has gone from 11th to 17th as we look back on him from Lake Speed's in-car camera.
And he's running in some heavy traffic there, and then behind him is Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt not having one of his better runs, at least in the early going here, but Ricky Rudd's Tide Chevrolet apparently not working too well in the turns. Lake Speed and the Truck Arctic car, number 66, we're watching out the rear view mirror of him. Here comes Michael Walters on the inside of Ricky Rudd. And Joe Ruttman is headed into the pits, an unscheduled pit stop for him.
This is definitely the best battle on the track right now. Derry Cope, of course, is there in number 10, then Rudd, then Lake Speed, the Phillips 66 in-car camera with the shots. Rudd ahead, and so is Cope. And here's second place Gant now making a bid for that position, and he is trying to take it away from Alan Kowicki.
Bobby Hillen just spun the Tyson Oldsmobile up in 3 and 4. No caution flag. Hillen has the car going. And we saw Harry Gant also has second spot. We see a little bit of damage to the left rear of the Tyson Oldsmobile.
And there's also damage to Bill Elliott's car. He has rear end damaged. The number 75 car of Joe Ruttman visits pit road early. They're checking the right side of that car, and they have the hood up.
I saw some smoke out of that car just a little bit ago.
And there's the damage that I referred to on the Bill Elliott car, as the rear bumper of that machine is dragging on the racetrack. Elliott had to get into this race on a provisional, and there's Rusty Wallace taking over 4th position from Dale Jarrett.
And Bill Elliott was just given the black flag by the NASCAR officials. This is the rip cam we was talking about just a moment ago.
Look how clear and clean that shot is. Good overall perspective of what it's like to drive a Winston Cup car on a 5/8 mile oval at North Wilkesboro at what speed? Top.
130-35 miles an hour at the end of the straightaway. There's Elliott. They're trying to rip that rear bumper off the car.
John Kernan is there in Elliott's pit.
Well, as you said, Elliott in some contact in turn 4. They do rip off the bumper, the rear bumper, and they finally get Elliott away. But I do believe he at least lost 1 lap here, which is not good news for the team. They had started way back in the pack today anyway.
Well, Bobby Hillen is on pit road getting some tires, and also Mickey Gibbs is in for an unscheduled pit stop for a change of right side tires on the Team 3 Pontiac.
Elliott back on the racetrack while Brett Bodine continues to lead the First Union 400 with Harry Gant now running second and Alan Kowicki third. We'll be back with more of our coverage after this. Parsons, John Kernan, Dr. Jerry Punch back in North Wilkesboro. Brett Bodine and the Quaker State Buick leads the Skull Bandit, driven by Harry Gant, as we have completed 25 laps of this 400-lap affair.
You remember when green cars were bad luck, Bob?
Oh, man. Things have changed.
Things have changed. Cars 1 and 2 as green as they can possibly be.
A lot of superstitions over the years have changed. Green race cars are among them. Now you can see that Alan Kowicki has dropped back just a little bit from Harry Gant. He continues to run in third, but Rusty Wallace is right there on his rear bumper.
Well, as we mentioned, we saw that 75 car of Joe Ruttman in the pits a little while ago. They have sent it back out on the racetrack, and Joe now many laps down.
Remember when eating peanuts in the pits was bad luck, Benny? But I bet that didn't stop you, did it?
Never did.
Benny was almost unstoppable when he was in the racetrack.
As a matter of fact, I have some statistics here on his performance at this particular racetrack, and it was impressive. He had 17 top 5 finishes in about a 10-year span. And now Rusty Wallace is alongside Alan Kowicki in the battle for third position. Rusty a little bit loose in the first corner. He takes third, however, from Alan.
If I could do that, I'd still be driving, Bob.
Well, if you had that kind of a car, that would make it easier, Benny.
And again, the roof cam, Dale Jarrett. Now he is sneaking up on this Alan Kowicki and Rusty Wallace battle.
Oh, looks like he's going to hit the wall when he comes off the corner of that tent.
It wouldn't do for his mother to see that.
No.
Doesn't bother me. I'm just standing there watching him.
And a side cam on Alan Kowicki's car, and we'll see how close indeed they do come to the wall when Alan swings out of the corner.
Yeah, they get pretty close to that wall. That, of course, was coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, second corner. Now he's going into turn number 1. Look at the new grandstands that have been built here at North Wilkesboro all around turn number 2. Now we're going down the backstretch. Some bleachers there on the backstretch.
That's going up the backstretch. Now,
Yeah.
this is one track that you literally go uphill a little bit, go up the backstretch, and then, of course, you go downhill on the front straightaway. It makes it a little bit difficult to set a car up perfectly because of the different speeds that you get because of the uphill and the downhill.
There's the number 25 car of Kenny Schrader.
He's coming up through the pack pretty good. He is now in the 6th position, moving in closer to Dale Jarrett. There's Kyle Petty right behind Kenny Schrader. Kyle got off to a little bit of a slow start. Looks like his car is coming in now.
And now the leaders begin to move through some of the slower traffic. There's Bodine in the green 26 and Harry Yank right behind him. That is Joe Ruttman's car, and Joe was in the pits for several laps. Now trying to get things back on the racetrack as Brett approaches him in turn number 1 and will make the pass easily. There is Charlie Glotz back in the 22 car in relief of Sterling Marlin. And Dale Earnhardt has not had a good weekend, qualifying way back in 17th position. And the car does not seem to be performing all that well here in the early stages of the race. As a matter of fact, you can see he's dropped back all the way to 25th position and isn't too far from being lapped.
No, he isn't too far from being left. In fact, he's a little over 4 seconds ahead of Brett Bodine, and they're gaining pretty quickly.
Jeff Bodine in the wall in turn number 2. And boy, Michael Waldrop just barely missed hitting him as the 11 car slid down the banking.
Now, this will help Dale Earnhardt in that situation where he was only 4 seconds from going a lap down. Now he'll get to close in.
Jeff Bodine is moving once again after contacting the wall between turns number 1 and 2. First caution period of the afternoon comes out on lap number 36. We'll be back with more from North Wilkesboro in the First Union 400. Now with 39 laps completed out of 400 in the First Union 400 here at North Wilkesboro, as we are about to go back to green and racing conditions. The green is out. Harry Gant leads him down. Roof cam, Dale Jarrett, Citgo Ford. The bumper cam, late speeds, Phillips 66 camera with the shots. That's Davey Allison coming oh so close.
David made a pit stop for a change of tires during this caution.
That's Jimmy Spencer on the outside of Davey Allison trying to take that spot away.
Jimmy made a pit stop as well.
Here's Ken Schrader battling alongside and in fact rubbing fenders with Dale Jarrett. And Ken is going to pick up the position on Dale. That moves Schrader to 4th. Dale Jarrett back to 5th position. Kyle Petty 6th.
Out of the back of Dale Jarrett, Citgo Ford, at Kyle Petty.
fourth car in line there is the Rob Moroso Memorial car carrying Tyson's sponsorship. That happened just moments before the race, actually. They brought the stickers out and put it on that number 20 car. There's your in-the-pack battle involving fourth place Schrader, number 25, Jarrett, Kyle Penny, and Ernie Irvin. That 20 car is not on the lead lap.
Ernie Irvin on the scoreboard here in 7th position has moved all the way from 22nd. And Earnhardt now battling in a big pack of cars. Look at it.
That is someplace that he does not like to be. He likes to be up front. Jerry, what is the problem with that race car?
When the green flag dropped, they had a severe push in the car. I mean, the car would go in the corner and was so tight with the rear of the car, he couldn't get it to turn. And Earnhardt complained to the crew that he couldn't even get the car hardly to turn in the corners. He was having to back out of the throttle to get the car to get to come off the corner. That cost him a lot of valuable time. He had backslid all the way to 25th place. They came in, took some wedge or bite out of the left rear of the car, put 4 new tires on the car, and apparently it is turning a little better, but it's still pushing quite a bit, so they're going to have to work on it some more with another yellow flag.
It's definitely running better than it was. I'll tell you that. He's up to 13th position now. So the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet is a little better than it was.
I think the combination of the adjustments they made plus the new tires they put on it is certainly helping. But look at Jeff Bodine. He's on the go as well.
Jeff Bodine just drives up on the outside of Earnhardt. Now we're looking back in the pack again. There, Bodine is taking that spot away from Earnhardt.
Michael Waltrip in car number 30, the Pennzoil car, and that's Dave Marcus in 71. Oh, and Jeff spins again in almost the same place that he did a few laps ago, a little further down the track.
And the caution flag is out.
He
Once
keeps
again
it going, but they do bring out the caution flag for the second time. Harry Gant won the race to the line. He's the leader of the race. Here's a replay of what happened. Let's see if there was any contact.
Well, he runs up on Michael Waltrip and probably has to hit his brakes, and I believe Dale Earnhardt might have tapped him just a little bit as he went into the turn. It was just one of those chain reaction type things it looked to me like.
I really couldn't tell if there was any contact at all.
In any case, Jeff did not make contact with the wall, so the car is not damaged in any way. But the second caution is out on this first Union 400 because of a spin down between turns number 1 and 2 by Jeff Bodine. 400, Charlie Glotzbach substituting for Sterling Marlin is all tore up on the right side of that car, and we understand he's without brakes. You can see the pit crew coming out to slow the car to try to get it stopped. And obviously he maybe dropped some brake fluid on the racetrack that caused Jeff to spin up there in turn 1.
Could possibly, who knows, because it's so hard to tell. See, those cars go behind Dave Marcus, but you can't see if there's any contact or what Jeff might have hit.
In any case, the green flag comes out once again. We are back to racing here in North Wilkesboro. 55 laps. It's Harry Gant up front, followed by Rusty Wallace, then Ken Schrader. Wallace looking to the inside, coming off the second corner. Cannot take over the lead from Harry Gant.
He made a pit stop during this last caution period, changed 4 tires. That's what he's doing in the back of the pack. He was their outside pole sitter.
Of Jimmy Spencer, the 11 of Jeff Bodine, and there is the 20 car also in this pack of cars. Hut Strickland rather in car number 12. Boy, 2 spins, but this certainly isn't holding up Jeff Bodine much. He runs into a lot of traffic, though. Mickey Gibbs, the number 24, just ahead, that caused him to hit the brakes hard once again.
Looks like a 3 abreast shot coming up to me.
Well, they are in the turn 3 abreast. This is not a good racetrack to be doing that, but maybe.
While we watch the action on the track, Charlie Glotzbach has rejoined the race. Apparently, they corrected that brake problem. Let's go to John Kernan for an update.
Bob, what they think is happening, actually what did happen is this is the right rear tire, and you can just see the remains. Whenever they pop this tire, they think that it also knocked the brake line off.
Earnhardt spins. Sorry to interrupt you, John, but Dale Earnhardt spins in turn number 3, and miraculously, everybody, I believe, missed him. The caution is out, though. Boy, there was a whole bunch of traffic behind him, and they scattered and avoided it.
Here comes our leader, Harry, again. And there goes Earnhardt. Still is not a lap down.
He stayed on the lead lap during that little incident.
He made some contact with someone going down pit road, and I just caught it out of the corner of my eye, and I'm not sure which car it was. And as he wiggles the car back and forth, I'm not sure he's going to pit, Ned. It looks like that of course, he's last on the field. He might as well pit on 4 tires.
Yeah, he might as well. But he wants to catch up to the field before he does, because the pace car is in turn 3 now, and he's just now going into turn 1. Yeah, I think he made contact with somebody going up the backstretch into turn 3.
Let's see if we can determine what happened by watching a replay. He's sideways at that point.
I don't know. It might have been he and Ricky Rudd. I know there was 2 cars that looked like made some contact back there, but...
And you can see the black mark on Ricky Rudd's car. That might be Dale Earnhardt paint. John?
Well, it certainly looks like it from here. Either that or it could be a Goodyear radial that would rub black on there, but you can see that they are changing 4 tires. Ricky complained of a push in the car, didn't want to turn in the corners, so they have made a stagger adjustment and put on sticker tires. They also pulled away the left front fender away from the tire. Now Dale Earnhardt is in.
Indeed, he is pitted at the end of pit road, down by turn number 1.
At the other end of pit road, Ricky Rudd is just as you come off of turn 4, and Earnhardt is the first car down towards turn 1.
4 tire change going on. Quick change, and Earnhardt pulls away back out onto the racetrack. So Dale Earnhardt having some problems here in the early going of this event, as we have completed 62 of the 400 laps and are under caution for the 3rd time this afternoon. North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Carolina for the first Union 400. Back in a moment. About to come out as ESPN Speed World is on hand at the first Union 400 in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Green flag out once again.
Bill Elliott trying to get one of his laps back. He made that green flag pit stop a little while ago.
He is currently shown in 27th position. Jerry, as far as the incident, possibly bumping incident between Rudd and Earnhardt, what have you learned down there?
Well, one of the crew members told me that Dale said he might have pinched Rudd off, of course, accidentally. You really difficult to see with that many cars in the short track. No tempers involved at all. As Richard Childers told me a minute ago, hey, it's just short track racing at its finest, and that happens. They were all smiles, and of course, I think Earnhardt just waved up beside Rudd to wave at him, make him understand that they're just trouble.
Boy, we have 2 cars in trouble down in turn number 4. One of them is Kyle Petty, whose car is up top, and Jimmy Spencer also. Davey Allison has spun down there in the 4th corner.
And meanwhile, Bill Elliott has passed the leader, Harry, again, and is trying to get his lap back. And Spencer's car is stalled and won't start. Here comes Elliott. He does make his lap up.
So Bill Elliott gets back on the lead lap because of this caution period. And the cars that spun down there in turn number 4 all have gotten going again. Again, Kyle Petty, Jimmy Spencer, and Davey Allison were the drivers involved in that incident. And we are seeing a lot of caution flags here in the early going of this event. That's the 4th time that the yellow was waved on the racetrack.
Reminds me of something.
Bristol,
like we
were just here, yes, last weekend.
That's Rusty Wallace's pit board. Looks like he may be going to make a pit stop.
Yeah, he had dropped back a little bit on that restart, fellas, and Jerry Punch is down there in his pits.
You watch him stop because he can't pass that pace car. He started down pit road like 1990, and he stopped. Jerry Punch, he's coming to you.
Indeed, Benny, that's exactly what he was doing. He had to look out that right side window and make sure they didn't pass the pace car, or else that would be a penalty. Now, Jimmy Maycar and the rest of the Miller Genuine Draft crew will change tires. We mentioned Rusty had indeed begun to drop back a little bit. He had charged quite a bit early on and may have used the tires up a little bit on this car. Now they've changed the right side tires. They hustle around to the left side. They have cleaned the windshield. They have topped it off with fuel. Maycar puts the left front tire on, getting ready to put the left rear, pull the jack, and now one man comes across. Remember, only 7 men across the wall. They clean the windshield. Rusty Wallace will assume his spot at the tail of the field.
Good overhead view from our pole cam as Rusty Wallace rejoins the race. Here is a replay of the incident up there in turn number 4.
It's one of those chain reactions exactly like we saw in Bristol last week. Somebody in front slowed down and the fellows behind them couldn't slow down. Kyle Petty spun up out of harm's way. Jimmy Spencer spins on pit road, and really there was not any serious damage.
And also Davey Allison looped it down there in turn number 4. But all is well, waiting for a restart of this Winston Cup race here at North Wilkesboro. 15 after 70 laps. Take a look at it as the crowd rises to its feet, and we are just about to go back to racing conditions. This is rather unusual for North Wilkesboro. Normally we can run several laps of green without incidents, but we have had 4 here in the first 70 circuits of this one. The pace car pulls out. Harry Gant leads Ken Schrader, Dale Jarrett, Ernie Irvin, and others down for the green, and we're back to racing.
Black car on the inside that's a lap down is Ted Musgrave, running the Alka Seltzer sponsorship again this weekend. Second place car Schrader goes by on the outside.
We mentioned earlier that Tyson is on the side of the Rob Rosso Memorial car, and the reason for that is because Chad Little did not make the field. Just missed it, but couldn't make enough qualifying effort to get into the field. Here's the roof cam once again on Dale Jarrett's car. That's Jimmy Spencer ahead of the Banquet Frozen Food Machine.
He's one lap down as a result of that spin, so he's trying to get up there and catch the leaders. He has fresher tires than the leader Spencer does have. His car is running good. He might be able to catch Harry Gant down and get himself back in the lead.
Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett is running 3rd on the field behind the leader Gant and 2nd place Schrader.
Here comes Spencer on the inside of Schrader. It takes that spot away so
rather easily.
Just drove right on by. He did make a pit stop a little earlier and have changed tires, so if this thing stays green for another 3 or 4 laps, he might get around here again and then hope for another caution so he'd be back in the pickup.
Spencer closing in on the leader Gant in an attempt to get that lap back. I think he might be able to do it. He's closing in rapidly on Rapid Harry.
Gant moves up the racetrack a little bit, leaves an opening for Spencer.
Uh-oh.
Almost too much of an opening. Harry says, Jimmy, if you won't buy that bet, go right ahead.
I tell you what, Jimmy Spencer drove a very smart race last weekend and had a very, very good race, and he is right in the thick of things here today.
He's a very aggressive race driver, fellas, and he don't mind putting a bumper to someone. He did drive a real hard race there last week at Bristol, had a good finish for himself, but he was in a few bumping incidents up there, too.
I think he's carried the name from the modified ranks of Mr. Excitement, and that certainly fits him. He finished 8th, by the way, last weekend in Bristol.
Here's Ernie Irvin and Darrell Waltrip. Darrell has passed Ernie in the last 2 or 3 laps. Darrell has now moved up to 4th. Ernie in 5th place. The rookie contender, Bobby Hamilton, is running 6th, and Jeff Bodine, after 2 spins, is up in 7th place.
You can see that Ernie has moved from his starting position of 22nd to 12th at the end of 20 laps, then to 8th at the end of 40 laps, and currently finds himself in the 5th position.
And if the fans are wondering about Brett Bodine, who led this race earlier, and as we see Jeff Bodine go around the Bobby Hamilton car, and that moves him into 7th place, Brett is now running in 10th place. So after making that pit stop, he has worked his way back up through the pack. In fact, he's about to take over 9th right now from Rick Wilson.
Jeff Bodine.
There he is, coming off the turn 4, just took over 9th with Terry Labonte, just the next car number 94.
And Alan Kowicki, the outside pole sitter, is right behind Brett Bodine. So both those fellows have made pit stops and are working their way back through the field.
Brett Bodine and Terry Labonte side by side off the fourth corner. There's the side cam on Allen's car as he moves to the inside of Terry Labonte. Right alongside him out of turn 2 and down the backstretch.
Well, it looked like he had 100 more horsepower than Terry right there. He just got to get traction. Those newer tires will help you do that. There's Rick Wilson in the Snickers car trying to move down to the inside of the 940.
Here comes Ricky Rudd and Earnhardt. Earnhardt on the outside of Rudd takes a spot away. Derek Cope right in front of Earnhardt.
Found each other on the racetrack again. Rudd and Earnhardt.
It's amazing how that works. You know, they've had problems here on this racetrack in the past.
Yep.
They put that all behind them, but it's just absolutely amazing how you come back here and there they are again. Already bumped one time, apparently, and now are racing together, trying to get back to the front.
Earnhardt has been able to pass Labonte. Now here comes Ricky Rudd to try to do so. And Derek Cope right behind the number 5 of Rudd. Earnhardt being shown in 10th position at the moment. Oh, Darrell Waltrip slide through. He looked like he was Saturday Night Thunder in Ventura, California, the way he took that car sideways through the corner.
I think he and Brett made just slight contact getting down in the corner. Or maybe Darrell just lost it going in the corner. It looked like maybe just a nudge from Brett Bodine's car. Here's Kawicki on the inside of Ernie Irvin trying to take that spot away.
Boy, those newer tires really make a difference.
Jeff Bodine has been involved in 2 spins, but still is on the lead lap. As a matter of fact, in 4th place, 3rd place.
And he did not stop and get tires that last time he spun. He spun all the way around and did not stop, kept going.
That, of course, is the Junior Johnson car, the Budweiser 4, driven by Jeff Bodine, and Junior Johnson knows how to win on this racetrack. He has a total of 18 wins as a car owner. And look at Brett Bodine, who has moved up through the traffic and battles alongside Dale Jarrett now. And from the roof cam, we see Brett Bodine go into 4th. Showing you the interval between those cars and the leader. There he is, Harry Gant, who has moved out to a rather comfortable advantage now. On 2nd place, Ken Schrader, and 3rd place, Jeff Bodine. We'll be back in just a moment. So in the first Union 400 Winston Cup race.
And there's trouble down in turn 1. Rick Wilson has spun around. He and Hutch Strickland came together going into the turn.
Everybody's got it headed in the right direction, but the yellow is out for the 5th time today.
These guys are the best at spinning and keep the car going in the same direction. It's almost like a thrill show or something.
There's Rick Wilson in the Snickers Buick. Dick Strickle there alongside him, and Lake Speed. Let's take a look at it. Rick Wilson is sideways as we pick it up, but a lot of scrambling behind him to avoid.
I was looking at it as it went into the turn. In fact, there were 3 cars, Davey Allison, Hutch Strickland, and the 8 car of Rick Wilson. They got together coming off of turn 4 and then got themselves back in the line when they went into turn 3. And there, Jimmy Spencer's got some damage there from somewhere.
Jimmy Spencer is running to someone and has knocked a fender in on the right front tire.
And anyway, when they started into turn 3, they bumped together, and that sent Rick Wilson around. I expect we'll see some of these other drivers, including Harry Gant, coming into the pits now, folks.
And indeed, several running up front are coming in. They're coming down at a very slow pace. Here's Jerry Punch.
Planned pit stop by Harry Gant's Skull crew. Leo Jackson, Andy Peter, and the crew. Likewise, Jeff Bodine coming back in the pits. We have been told his rear bumper is flapping and loose. We see it as he comes by. Dale Jarrett is into the Cisco Ford, but they are working on the Harry Gant car. Right side tires already having been changed. A lot of crews have watched what Brett Bodine did of changing tires early on and coming back to the field. That fresh rubber makes a big difference. Almost a second a lap, but now they put left side tires on Gant's car. Very carefully moving by the Dale Jarrett machine. He is now and away. And the Trop Arctic car further down pit road is parked with the rear of the car out and to squeeze in between the Dale Jarrett car. Again, that's a judgment call between the Dale Jarrett Cisco team and the Budweiser team, and Lake Speed's crew still working to change tires on the Cale Yarborough Motorsports effort.
Lake's still on pit road now. They finish the work, and Lake pulls back out onto the racetrack. Well, the drivers seem to be very careful coming down pit road and making sure that they get their car in their assigned area and not making any violations whatsoever. It's been a very clean pit road so far.
Yes, guess who's leading this race? Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt leads, and we'll be back for the resumption of the first Union 400 in a moment. Soon be going back to green again. Here are the top 10. It's Earnhardt, Rudd, Wallace, Martin, and Petty in the top 5. And then 6 through 10, Michael, Waltrip, Shepard, Gant, Bodine, and Kulwicki. The crowd rises to its feet as the pace car pulls off the racetrack. And the green flies once again. Dale Earnhardt leads the first Union 400 as we go back to green on lap 106. I tell you what, he has had a couple of problems here in the early going. A very bad handling race car, first of all, and then a spin, but he's leading.
Yes, he was almost a lap down at one point, as we pointed out. He lost about 4 seconds when he lap down, and then Carson came in, got 4 tires, made some adjustments on the Good Ranch Chevrolet, and here he is up front.
Running second, the current Winston Cup points leader, Ricky Rudd in the Tide Chevrolet, and right behind him is Rusty Wallace, who won last weekend at Bristol, and now Rusty trying to make a race for second position. They bump coming out of the second corner. Rusty has the inside line going into 3. Rudd trying to hold the position, but he'll lose it to Wallace, and Rusty moves to second.
Jimmy Spencer was given the black flag the last time around. We understand it was for coming down pit road too fast, and he is indeed now coming into the pits. Another one of the penalties.
Yep, there's the penalty being assessed for Jimmy Spencer, who has considerable damage on the right side of that Banquet Frozen Foods car. They hold him, and now they release him.
That was about 15 seconds, and he did go a lap down again.
So Spencer's aggressive nature seems to have gotten him a little bit trouble going down the pit road. Wallace is closing up on the back of Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt, as we mentioned, started back in 17th position. He fell to 19th at the end of 20 laps, down to 26th at the end of 40, moved up a couple positions to 24th at the end of 60, and now he is the leader with 111 laps on the board.
Race for third spot. The 5 car is in third. That's Ricky Rudd. The 6 car is Mark Martin.
First time we've seen him today. But he's been back there grinding away.
I thought Rusty Wallace was going to close up on the back with Dale Earnhardt. Instead, looks like Earnhardt might be pulling away by a car length or so.
A lot of traffic on the racetrack. We go inside with the Phillips 66 in-car camera and Lake Speed's car to show you some of the action. He's in 23rd position at the moment, but up ahead of him, a lot of traffic.
There's Charlie Glossback right on the outside of him. Maxwell House Ford. He's on the inside, trying to get on the inside of Dave Marcus. Locked in behind Marcus now, can't go anyplace, and the line just keeps going by on the outside. Finally, the last car, and Dick Trickless went by. Now he can move over and try to get by Marcus.
This is at the end of the pack. How about this? After a fourth of the race already been run, all 33 are still out there.
And we've had 5 cautions. But they've been for Spence.
Sitco in car, in this case, on the roof, Cam, with Dale Jarrett.
That'd be the out car, I guess, wouldn't it?
He's in 16th place at the moment. Look at this. Of the 33 cars that are running, 26 remain on the lead lap. You can see Jeff Bodine just ahead. Here is the 6 car of Mark Martin picking up the position on Ricky Rudd, and that moves Martin to 3rd.
That 6 car won the race here last fall. Remember, he kept adjusting on his car all day long. At the end of the race, had it almost perfect and beat Dale Earnhardt.
Now Kyle Petty there in the number 42 car, the 3rd car in line, has also been involved in a spin, but he is on the lead lap and trying to take the position away from Rudd, and he will do so. Rudd has lost 2 positions here in the last 2 laps.
Rudd also leads the Winston Cup points by 119, and right now is not the time to be taking any wild chances.
He's not taking chances, but I don't believe that Ty Chevrolet's handling too good today. But Harry Gant's car is handling okay. Car number 33, he was leading the race, went in for a pit stop. Now trying to come back up through the pack. Brett Bodine, of course, made a pit stop during that last caution as well. Michael Walkup did not. So they have fresher tires than he. Makes a difference.
Those green cars of Gant and Bodine, both have been very strong. ESPN's Emmy Award-winning audio at work for you. Look at this. Rusty Wallace is right on the rear bumper of Dale Earnhardt. This would be the battle for the lead.
This reminds us of the past few years.
Oh, yeah.
Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt. The 2 car has changed a little bit. It used to be 27. It used to be Kodiak. But it's still the 2 same fellas. Earnhardt in front, Wallace behind.
And the ownership of that team also has changed because Rusty is part owner of it. Look at this. He moves inside of Earnhardt coming off corner number 4. As they hit the line, Earnhardt with the bumper advantage, and they'll go into 1 side by side. And now Rusty with the inside. Nope, he can't do it as Dale Earnhardt steps on the accelerator off the 2nd corner, and they remain wheel to wheel.
Boy, these fans are loving it here at North Wilkesboro. Seeing those 2 battle side by side. Boy, Earnhardt just won't give up, because that's not his nature.
Short track racing at its best. A little paint trading, and now Rusty has the lead. Bobby Hillin hangs right with him in the number 20 car, but he isn't on the lead lap.
He has visions of passing these 2 guys to get himself back in the lead lap. All over. Meanwhile, the 6 car, Mark Martin, has caught this pack. Now, if he can get by the 20 car, he will be right on the back of the 3.
And moving on back to 33 car, Harry Gant in a little bit of trouble, in a little bit of traffic, I should say. There's Brett Bodine in 26 also. Alan Kowicki in 7, and Schrader. Here's the in-car from Alan Kowicki.
That's what he's seeing, those drivers running side by side. He knows he can't do anything until Brett moves on around Michael Waltrip. Now Michael gets back to the inside groove very quickly to protect that position.
Meanwhile, Schrader passes Kowicki on the outside while he was trying to get by Michael. Schrader is driven by on the outside. And don't look now, but Richard Petty's on your outside.
There he is, just sticking the nose in. You got to give a call to the Richard Petty team. They made the race on a provisional. However, there's a lot more to the story. He crashed in a Friday session. They took the car back to the shops. And look at this, Kowicki is going behind. They got the car fixed, got it here at 5 o'clock on Saturday morning. Just missed making the field as far as qualifying is concerned, but did get in on the provisional.
There was a gallant effort by the crew, as much work as they had to do to that STK Pontiac.
Alan Kowicki losing several positions here as we watch first a car to the inside and then one to the outside pass him by. And now he tries to make a move on Michael Waltrip.
He's trying to go on the outside, and his car is just not working out there like those cars have been blowing by him.
Now he passes Michael. Into turn number 2. Meanwhile, up front at continues to be Rusty Wallace leading this race, with Dale Earnhardt running in second position, and King Richard Petty at the moment is shown in 8th position. Here at the First Union 400 in North Wilkesboro. This leads Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, and Brett Bodine after 135 of 400 laps in the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why more people are winning with the heartbeat of America. By Ace. Ace is the place with a helpful hardware man. And by Suzuki. Your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Rusty Wallace leads the First Union 400. And he has stretched out his advantage over second place, and the second place car now is Mark Martin, as he was able to pass Dale Earnhardt a few laps ago.
Meanwhile, several other cars has passed Dale Earnhardt. The 26 car, Brett Bodine, Kyle Petty, Harry Gant, all of them went by Earnhardt.
I think his tires are getting old again, fellas, a little worn. There's a lot of cars that are off sequence from others as far as tires are concerned, so we'll see some running good for a while, and then when their tires get worn.
Race for fourth, Harry Gant on the outside of Kyle Petty.
Takes Harry.
4 spot away.
Yes, sir. He drives right around Kyle Petty. That moves Harry to fourth. Kyle Petty in 5th position, and going into today's race, Kyle has led more miles than any other driver. Look at this. King Richard is really strong today.
Jeff Bodine is trying to get by Richard. They got together coming off turn 2 a little bit ago and almost spun. Both of them able to right things go around and keep going. Now Jeff has taken finally that spot away.
That was 7th he just took away.
You talk about former winners at this track. You mentioned King Richard first because he has won 15 events here at this facility. 10 times he has won this particular race. His most recent win here was in 1981. And by the way, we might say that the right front tire changer on this number 43 team, Lance Hill, is recuperating from an illness, and we wish him the best. Look at this. It started 33rd, moved to 25th, to 18th, to 9th, and now to 7th. King Richard Petty.
After Jeff Bodine passed him, that moved him to 8th. But here's Earnhardt still going backwards, so Jeff Bodine moves into 6th. Earnhardt to 7th. Richard is 8th, but he'll be moving back up to 7th place here momentarily as Earnhardt gives him plenty of running room. He's down on the inside of the track. He is hoping for North Carolina.
Boy, he's got the fans pumped up here. I want to tell you, they are standing here in the grandstand, aren't they, Benny?
Boy, they went crazy when they went by that 3 car, Bob. Here comes Schrader. He's on closure on the back.
There's the leader, Rusty Wallace. And then the battle for second position, Mark Martin, and the pole sitter for this race, Brett Bodine, who would be eligible for $7,600 in Unical bonus money if he were to win this race. Of course, the Unical bonus money was collected last week at Bristol by Rusty Wallace. Friendly little touch there.
Boy, oh boy, is that car.
Man, I'm telling you.
I'm impressed with the way Brett Bodine's car can cut in those turns, and then he mashes on the accelerator and it hooks up coming off the turn, and that's what you need here at North Wilkesboro. It's hard to get that combination, but he has it working.
And now Brett Bodine sets his sights on the leader, Rusty Wallace.
Earnhardt is still going backwards. Schrader has gotten by. Also, the 7 car Kowicki's gotten by. Now Darrell Walton comes up. Jerry punches down with Childress. Is there something wrong, Jerry?
Benny, let's ask Richard. Richard, the car is slowing a little bit and getting past. What's the problem?
Well, we stayed out on those tires trying to get back our track position, and we just got 40 more laps on the tires than some of those other cars had.
So that's the problem, guys. After the tires go away here, they don't wear, but they get slower. And they pitted on lap 60, so figure that they've got almost 90 laps on these tires already. That's going to take its toll. Gentlemen?
Well, if we were running with the old pit rules, Dale would not hesitate to come in, but now since they can change tires under caution, that's what he would like to have here.
He will stay out there as long as he's in the lead lap. Now, if something happens, Rusty Wallace or whoever the leader is comes around and laps Earnhardt, I would think that just as soon as he's lapped, he'll dive in to get 4 fresh tires because he is really struggling now.
Yes, he is. He's obviously slower than a lot of other cars on the racetrack. Bobby Hamilton in 68 just passed him. Here comes Dale Jarrett. Meanwhile, look how close the Bodine brothers have moved in. Rather, make that Brett Bodine has moved in on Rusty Wallace as Jeff is now running 5th.
And not far in front of the leader is the Winston Cup point leader, Ricky Rudd. He, like Earnhardt, is struggling out there today. If this thing goes green for another 10 laps, he's going to find himself a lap down as Brett Bodine. There is Ricky Rudd, but Brett Bodine now making the pass on Rusty Wallace.
He's got him. Brett Bodine has moved through traffic very impressively to take over the lead from Wallace.
And here comes Mark Martin and Harry Gant. First place car, Mark Martin.
Rusty takes his car up high on the first and second corners. And now Mark Martin is right alongside of Rusty Wallace, and Mark Martin is beginning to turn his season around.
After Darlington, when I went down in the garage area after the race at Darlington, Mark Martin had that gleam in his eye, that sparkle. He said, "We're back."
Now, fellas, the tires are beginning to go away on Rusty Wallace's car now. He pitted about 7 or so laps after Dale Earnhardt did, so his tires are getting gone now. And
Ricky Rudd has gone a lap down. Brett Bodine has passed Ricky Rudd. The current Winston Cup points leader is a lap down, and now second place Mark Martin also passes Rudd.
I got to say this, a little bit ago as we watched Brett Bodine pass Rusty Wallace for the lead, at the same time that was happening on the television, Kyle Petty was passed by his father. Here comes Rudd in the pits, John Kernan.
They thought that Ricky had a flat or a right front tire going flat. He stayed out there hoping for a caution as long as he could. They finally went down a lap, so they're going to bring him in. They will change all 4 tires. They will not make a chassis adjustment. You can see he says he's a little bit cockeyed. They're going to have somebody out there to get that right front tire out of the way. They're trying to run over. The right side's going on the gas's head. Now Ricky's his way. He kicks the right front tire a little bit out the pit road, but it is all right. He is down and away, but he has lost a couple of laps.
Only 24.3 seconds in the pits. That doesn't seem like very long, but it sure counts up on the racetrack.
I was saying that Kyle Petty was being passed by his father, Richard, and the fans went crazy.
Richard now up to 6th place. That's the leader, though.
Brett Bodine continues to lead. And there's the interval between first and second place now belongs to Harry Gant, as he has put Mark Martin and the Folgers Ford back to 3rd position. Rusty Wallace runs in 4th, and in 5th place is the number 11 car of Bodine, but now Jeff pulls alongside of Rusty and makes a battle for that position. Some great racing here on the 5/8 mile oval at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Let's see if Jeff Bodine can pull off the path, and yes, he does. So Jeff Bodine continues to march forward. Back with more of our ESPN Speed World coverage in just a moment. We're about to go back to green from this caution period, which was caused by a spin up in turn number 2 by Davey Allison. Got the car sideways, nobody hit him, and there were no other cars involved. But a lot of cars did come in for a pit stop. And so as we go back to green, or are about to go back to green, it is Brett Bodine who is continuing to lead this race, with Mark Martin running second, then Harry Gant and Rusty Wallace. Now the number 5 car of Ricky Rudd is at the tail end of the lead lap.
Exactly. If the caution should come out now, he would be back in the lead lap.
I believe he was 2 laps down.
I think you're right, man.
So he would pick up one of those laps.
I think you're exactly right. He was 2 laps.
He had gone a lap down on the racetrack, and then he came in for a green flag pit stop and went another lap down.
There's the leader, Brett Bodine, who won this race a year ago at this time. The second place car is Mark Martin. There's Harry Gant in 3rd, and Rusty Wallace. Again, the 20 car, driven by Bobby Hillen, is not on the lead lap. Here's Harry Gant moving to the inside of Mark Martin. Battle for second. Here comes Rusty Wallace right behind Harry. Harry has second place. Rusty has third, and Mark Martin is back to fourth.
He salvaged a fourth out of it.
Yeah, but it won't last long. Here comes Jeff Bodine and Darrell Walter, who all made pit stops during this last caution. Few of those front-running cars didn't put on new tires, fellas, and it really makes a difference. Look at Darrell trying to pull up on the outside.
Does it ever make a difference?
Darrell takes the car high in the first turn.
Now, does Jeff know he's out there? He did this time.
Jeff is hung up behind Mark Martin there, and Darrell sees that, and he's taking advantage of it.
Darrell Waltrip, a 9-time winner at this racetrack, 3 in this particular race. Used that outside line and has moved up a couple of positions.
Jeff Bodine is coming right with him.
Put Darrell in fifth.
Schrader down underneath Jimmy Spencer. Or make that Bobby Hillman, I should say, in the 20 car. And here comes King Richard.
Richard has a great run here today.
I'm telling you, this is as impressive as Richard Petty has been in a long time. Only 25 laps away from the halfway mark of this event, and King Richard is in 8th.
And started 33rd. That's right. Last.
Kowicki and Irvin and Dale Earnhardt are all trailing the King. There's Earnhardt, and he certainly benefited from that most recent caution period brought out by Davey Allison's team as he was able to come in and get some fresh tires on that car, but has not been able to move up very quickly since we went back to racing.
Traffic has been very heavy back there where he is racing.
He's in 11th. Look at the traffic up ahead.
Schrader on the outside of Mark Martin trying to take that spot away. And he just squeezes Martin off. Almost got tagged in the left rear. And here comes Richard. Here comes Ernie on the inside, Richard. Be careful.
Oh, boy, did they bump. Irvin passed him, but he left some yellow paint on that STP Pontiac.
Looks like Ernie ricocheted off the left front tire. Richard started getting a little bit loose. Back in slip coming off forward. Gave Kowicki a chance to get that on the inside. And they touch. Ooh, almost finished Kowicki.
He hung on to it. Earnhardt had to get out of the throttle. Now Earnhardt tries to go on the inside of Kowicki.
And he does.
Takes that spot away.
Yep. Gets the pass on Kowicki. There's Brett Bodine, the leader, and second place Harry Gant. And Gant has ideas of taking the lead away as he looks outside of Brett.
I think he's trying to trick Brett into thinking he's going outside and hope that Brett will slide up the racetrack a little bit to block the outside. He'll be able to drive to the inside.
No, he wouldn't try to trick him.
He probably would.
Yeah, I think he would too.
Of course, Brett probably is not going to fall for that trick.
Bodine has only won one Winston Cup race. That was a year ago at this time. It was somewhat of a disputed victory because of some procedural problems in the event. However, you can't take a win away from anybody. He drove a fantastic race, and he is driving a very impressive race here this afternoon. Brett Bodine, car number 26.
He's being very aggressive going after these positions, these lap cars. That's Davey Allison right in front of him, who would be a lap down if Brett can get by him. He's very aggressively going after him. trying to get those positions.
Look for your favorite driver now as he comes down. We're timing the leader and showing you where your favorite driver is running in relation to the leader. Here comes Hut Strickland, Bobby Hamilton, Ricky Rudd, Davey Allison, and Bodine again. And Bodine's lap was 20.5 seconds.
That's a little over a second slower than they qualified. But remember, Brad has been out there quite a while on this set of tires he has.
And Joe Ruttman is against the wall in turn 4, and the yellow is out again.
And those two cars right in front of Brett Bodine, Ricky Rudd and Davey Allison, will get their laps back.
Rudd got one of his 2 laps back.
We're slowed once again, 13 laps away from the halfway point here at North Wilkesboro. Davey Allison and Ricky Rudd can get a free ride around the racetrack and catch up with the rear of the field, documenting that they are back in contention. So, the caution flag out once again in the Winston Cup race here at North Wilkesboro. Can he do it again as we go back to green on lap 192? Brett Bodine is the leader. Harry Gant running in second, then Rusty Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, and Jeff Bodine.
There's Mr. Excitement, car number 98. Down on the inside, almost losing it, trying to get a lap back.
24 cars remain on the lead lap. And we're only 8 away.
Rusty Wallace spins, backs in the wall down in turn 2 with Ted Musgrave. Now all these fellows are trying to stop so they don't run into anyone.
Man, oh man, what a traffic jam. Rusty backed into the wall pretty good.
Yeah, I think the car number 55 of Musgrave got into him just a little bit going into the turn, and it sent Rusty around.
And I don't know why.
Now watch the 55 car, the white car at the top of your screen right now.
He gets running, someone hits the 55 in the back and spins him.
Yep.
That's the Jeff Bodine car, taps him in the back, spins Musgrave. Is that not Bodine?
I think this is it Bodine?
I don't know.
I thought it was Hillen maybe.
Maybe
well,
it could have been. Red car ran in the back of the 55 car. He spins up in the back off.
Could have been Morgan Shepherd.
There's a lot of red cars out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is Morgan Shepherd.
You're right, Bob.
Yep. Now watch. This will be a better view. See the nudge? Yep.
Touch the 55, which spins him into Rusty, and then Rusty backs it into the wall pretty hard.
And he made some pretty significant contact. The car is still on the racetrack up in turn number 2.
And the car wouldn't start, I guess, is the problem. A fellow pushed it off. Rusty was trying to get it started as he pushed it. Now Wrecker is behind it. Don't you know Rusty is frantically saying, please, please, please get this car going.
Well, we see the midgets pushed off on Saturday Night Thunder every Saturday night like this, but you don't normally see it behind a Winston Cup stock car. He's on his way to pit road, however. The 8th caution flag of the afternoon because of a spin involving Rusty Wallace has sent Rusty Wallace's number 2 to the garage area, coming down for a restart.
He's on the outside. Ted Musgrave on the inside gets tapped slightly by Morgan Shepherd. Musgrave spins into Rusty, and he hits the outside wall.
And here it is from Alan Kowicki's in car.
Boy, he got it slowed down in a hurry, didn't he?
Boy, you see that smoke up ahead of you, and all you can do is stand on the brakes and hope that you miss it.
Exactly. It's not skill, it's luck more than anything.
Getting set to go back to racing now, as we are very close to the halfway point of this First Union 400. Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Buick has the advantage as the green waves once again on lap 197.
Jimmy Spencer down on the inside once again, trying to get back a lap that he had lost earlier.
Looks like he's got a little better position on Brett this time. He's back in front now if he can get a caution flag. The 33 car of Harry again is second.
Morgan Shepherd, by the way, the 4th car in line, the red number 15, is a lap down. And the field will be given the cross flags coming down this time, indicating that we have completed 200 laps. Halfway in the First Union 400, Brett Bodine is the leader of the event. And let's go down to the garage area where Jerry is with Rusty Wallace.
Eddie Dickerson and the crew are trying to peel some of the sheet metal away of what's left of Rusty's Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. Rusty's still sitting in the car. Rusty, a pretty hard lick up there. How bad's the car hurt?
I haven't been out of the car yet, but I think it's pretty good. It got the rear end of the car. Didn't hurt anything from the driver forward. Just out there running, no problem. Car handling perfect, running second or third, and I guess Morgan Shepherd and the lap car got together, and they tagged me, and around I went, but it's too bad. Had a good run going. Car handled perfect.
We'll back out of the way. The crew trying to get the frame now bent back away from the rear tire well. So Rusty can get back out and pick up some valuable Winston Cup points. Gentlemen.
Last week's winner at Bristol sits in the car in the garage area as the crew tries to get the bodywork away from the tires and get that car back out there.
Now here's Ricky Rudd. He is still a lap down, but he's coming on strong. He has new tires on the car. Some of those other cars have not pitted in a while, so he's trying to come back up through the pack to maybe pass the leader and get back in the lead.
Oh, Harry Gant and Morgan Shepherd get together, and what a great job Harry did saving that car. Harry, you still pretty doggone good in my book.
Here's our field summary now as we've just completed 200 laps. Again, Morgan Shepherd is not on the lead lap, and neither is Ricky Rudd. The cars on the high side of the racetrack, 33 and the 11, are battling for position. 33 Gant is second, and Jeff Bodine in 11 is third.
Bill Elliott has just made an unscheduled pit stop. He had gotten back in the lead lap, but now he doesn't go that now. Terry Labonte is off the pace going into turn 3.
There's second place, Harry Gant, and you can see that the interval that Brett Bodine has on Harry is pretty good. Buick has been running well for Brett Bodine.
Oh, Harry tries to get to the inside, makes contact with Rudd, spins it around it. He does another one of those thrill show jobs and keeps the car going straight. Caution flag is waving, though.
Boy, Joey Chitwood would be proud of these guys, wouldn't he?
He and Bobby Hamilton almost crashed coming down for the caution flag.
Yep. A perfect 360. Hey, Jimmy Spencer is going to get a lap back.
Made a lap back.
That will put him on the lead lap in 21st position. Here's a replay.
Well, Brett, Morgan Shepherd gets by Harry on the inside. Harry tries to come back to the inside. Unbeknownst to him, Ricky Rudd had already covered that spot. They made contact. Around went Harry, and around went Harry again, and keeps her going straight.
And another angle. A little tighter shot.
There is Morgan going by, clearing Gant, and then Ricky Rudd tries to move in and close the gap. As Benny said, Harry probably didn't know that, and they made contact, and around he goes.
You guys learn to do that in driver's school, make those 360s like that, or is that luck?
I never did. That's luck. That's what that is.
Gant stays on the lead lap. Lost several positions during the spin, but Harry is still going to be a factor in this race. When we come back with more of the first Union 400. And why we are in our 9th caution period. Watch the 33 car of Harry Gant.
He heads down for the inside of the racetrack where the groove is. As I said, unbeknownst, Ricky Rudd was already there to make contact. And I'm telling you, these guys are really doing a great job. How do they know exactly when to hit the gas?
That's a good question. I'm not going to try it, I'll tell you.
No, I'm not either.
Harry dropped all the way back to 19th spot because of that spin. However, he's on the lead lap.
But he did make a 4-tire pit stop. He made a pit stop, put on 4 tires. So
we are hearing reports of rain within 5 minutes of this racetrack. We are past the halfway mark, of course. 212 laps have been completed, and as the green flag comes out to resume this race, Brett Bodine stays in command. It's amazing how many cars we have on the lead lap, and the fact that nobody is officially out of this race yet. But we do have 2 cars behind the wall. Mickey Gibbs and Rusty Wallace are trying to work on those cars.
And there's trouble up in turn 4. Richard Petty has spun down on the inside. A big bunch of cars coming together, and Petty gets the worst end of it.
And he appears to be, now he gets a car going. Richard, you're going to lose a lap. You will.
And these two cars are desperately trying to pass the 26 car so they can get a lap back. That's not going to happen.
Nope. Brett Bodine holds off both Ricky Rudd and Morgan Shepherd in their attempt to gain back a lap.
I think Rick Wilson was involved in that. A lot of smoke coming from his car as he comes in. You can see damage to the left rear of the Snickers Buick.
Here's a replay. There you can see.
There's Richard on the outside. Looks like the back end just got out from under him there. Kyle dodges him. Dale Jarrett gets around him. And then they really bunch up back there behind him.
Looks like the 4 car ran in the back of the 8 car. I don't know if we've seen any damage to the 4 car or not, but someone ran in the back of the 8 car when they was all trying to stop.
Well, Harry Gant fell from the top 5 with a spin, and now Richard Petty falls from the top 10 with the spin. Now the King is shown back in 21st. Last car on the lead lap. Well, we have seen instances during this race of cars not handling well. Many things you can do to make a car handle better. Here's this week's track fact. Petty, who spun just a few minutes ago, and here is a replay now from our roof cam on Dale Jarrett's car. Watch this.
Okay, that's going into turn 3. And I believe he got bumped by, was that the Bobby Hamilton car?
Looked like the 68 car got a little bit sideways, and when he corrected, it might have went up and tapped Richard Petty there. That's exactly what it looked like.
So King Richard stays on the lead lap, and we will be back with more of our coverage of this Winston Cup race here at North Wilkesboro. The green flag comes out on lap 219, and we're back to racing. Brett Bodine leads this race as Ricky Rudd in car number 5 continues his attempt to get back on the... Oh! And the Bodine slams the wall hard up in turn number 3.
Heavy. Oh, there's
Lake Speed.
Lake Speed comes into the crash.
Wow. Tough break for Brett Bodine, who appeared to be on his way to his 2nd consecutive victory in this race. But he took a hard shot into the 3rd turn wall.
Almost like Rusty Wallace's car. They're still working on Rusty's car. We see Brett moving around in the car, so he is okay.
Apparently is okay, but the car has to be badly damaged.
Very similar situation to what happened just a moment ago with Harry Gant. Brett Bodine starts down the hill in the groove, doesn't realize that Rudd is there. They make contact, and around he goes.
And Rudd got back in the lead lap.
And here it is from another angle as Lake Speed also spins and hits the wall. They're coming off of turn 2 now onto the backstretch.
Rudd pulls down on the inside. And when he go down in the corner, Brett, not realizing he's there, comes down, make contact, and around he goes. Oh, that's too bad.
Yep. And Brett points a finger of disgust at Ricky Rudd as he walks down the racetrack. It's all over for Brett Bodine, but he ran a fine race. Now Rudd is in the pit area for a tire change.
Well, he's back in the lead lap now after having gone 2 laps down. And
we saw the fellow with the hammer knocking the fender out where he made some contact so that they had the sheet metal would not rub the tire.
And Brett is walking back toward the pit area and is about to arrive in the Ricky Rudd pit. And Rudd, meanwhile, pulls back out on the racetrack. Here it is again. Watch. Just slight contact, but that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
Now from Lake Speed's in-car camera, he's going to be in, you can see Lake spinning right there and hitting the wall, and now we'll take a look at it from his Philip 66 in-car camera.
This is coming off turn 2, accelerating down the back straightaway. All of a sudden we see the smoke up there. And boom, someone runs in the back of Lake Speed.
Let's send him spinning right into.
Let's go down to John Kernan, who's with Brett.
Brett is walking down the pit area. Brett, what happened out there, and are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. Awfully disappointed. That Quaker State Buick was just, you couldn't ask for a better race car. And I used to have a lot of respect for Ricky Rudd. And I'll tell you what, I never in all the years I've been racing been just put out of a race like that. I just don't understand it. I mean, I hate it more for my guys. I mean, they've worked so hard to get this car to this condition to dominate a race like this, and just to have it all go away it's awful hard to take. I'll tell you, I just don't know what else to say.
Well, they did black flagging, Brett.
Yeah, I know, but our car's up in the wall totaled, and just one of those deals, I guess.
Very disappointed. Brett Bodine had a lot of high hopes for it today.
Again, we'll take a look at what happened up in turn 3.
There's Rudd trying to move on the inside to get back in the lead lap, and Brett makes his move to get in the groove that he's been running in most of the day, and they touch. And around he goes into the wall.
And a real-time replay from the in-car camera. Blake did everything right, didn't he? Backed off and was okay, but then got hit and spun. And they are still holding Ricky Rudd on pit road. The NASCAR official standing in front of the car. Schrader now has the lead. Flag. Back to racing at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, with Ken Schrader leading the first Union 400 and Darrell Waltrip running second. And the 6th car of Mark Martin is third. Now, before we go any further, let us make it perfectly clear that Ricky Rudd, and Mark Martin almost spins in turn 4.
Derek Cope does.
Yes. Cope slides into pit road. No yellow because Derek's car is off the racetrack, and he's going to get it headed in the right direction. No caution. It's going again, but let us say right now, as we watch Darrell Waltrip battle for the lead with Ken Schrader, that Ricky Rudd was being held on pit road, not for the contact with Brett Bodine on the racetrack, but because of excessive speed on pit road.
Excessive speed down pit road, that's exactly right. When he made his pit stop, we saw him hammering the fender off the tire. It took him a long time to do that. The pace car was coming down the racetrack. Ricky Rudd tried to beat the pace car as he went down pit road and simply went too fast down pit road.
Derek Cope was running in 6th place when that happened.
Schrader is leading, and Darrell Waltrip is in second. Waltrip, a 9-time winner at this racetrack and a 3-time winner of this event. Last won it in 1983.
And the 8 and the 43 cars have crashed. That's Rick Wilson up against the wall on the outside, and Richard Petty was involved as well.
Looks like he hit the wall pretty hard over in turn 3. King Richard continued on pit road. The yellow flag is out again, and this is just not the North Wilkesboro race that we have normally seen. Now he's going to be able to get the car going again.
Richard Petty is already in the pits.
The car just simply will not roll. Rick Wilson got the car fired, but it just will not roll.
Here it is.
There's Richard Petty and Rick Wilson side by side as they come off turn 2. They make some contact, and they just never did get the car back together. They never did get the cars back under control.
And Rick Wilson drove into the 3rd turn wall pretty hard, almost a head-on impact. As we said, King Richard continued to the pit area. And he just lost his left front.
The left front wheel just simply was not tight. The lug nuts were not on the car, and it fell off.
Yep. He'll be able to drive it into the pit area. So Richard Petty, who was very, very strong at one point in this race, has had some problems here in the most recent going with 230 laps complete. Statement before, but the green flag is out once again and racing resumes. In fact, that's the 12th caution period that we are coming off of in a highly unusual North Wilkesboro race. Normally this race can go with few cautions, but we have had 12 of them so far today.
Bill Elliott passes the leader, Kenny Schrader. Now, if caution comes out again, if number 13 was to fly, he would be back in the lead lap.
Mark Martin trying to take the lead going into turn 1.
Martin is on the inside of Ken Schrader, who is the leader of this race. Kyle Petty is running 3rd.
Bill Barrett 4th, Dale Earnhardt 5th, Rick Mast is 6th, and Rick Wilson 7th. It's interesting, 2 Dales running 4th and 5th, and 2 Ricks running 6th and 7th.
And Speaking of Dale Jarrett, here's the roof cam.
That's not Rick Wilson. That's Ernie Irvin in that car. I beg your pardon, Vince.
There's Earnhardt inside of Dale Jarrett, and here comes Ricky Rudd right behind him. Watch for Rudd on the left. There he is. Ricky still one lap down. That car showing a considerable amount of damage, but then most of them are out there. Here's the Phillips 66 in-car camera being carried by Lake Speed. That's Darrell Waltrip just ahead. Harry Gant to the left. Oh, there's a lot of traffic up ahead. See Jeff Bodine, so is Dick Trickle just ahead of Lake Speed.
Rick Mast and Dale Jarrett got together going into turn one, but they're okay. Jarrett just lost about 3 positions.
Darrell Waltrip, really, he's at the mercy of the people in front of him. There's just too many cars to pass.
Now, Darrell made a pit stop here in this last caution. He was running in second place, but made a pit stop, so he's back at the pack.
Get boxed in, and there's nothing you can do except ride it out.
And you have to have the patience to ride it out.
Oh, a spin here on the straightaway. Alan Kowicki's in the wall. He came rocketing off the fourth corner. I don't know whether he was hit or not, but he sure hit the wall, the inside retaining wall. Alan's trying to get the car restarted. Field comes down and takes the caution flag for the 13th time in the Hooters Ford.
And Bill Elliott got back in the lead lap once again. He had done it earlier today, so he just fought his way back again.
All right, here it is from our speed shot right under the starting stand.
He is sideways coming down the front straightaway and slams into the inside retaining wall. Everybody else goes by on the outside.
And we could not see from that angle if he was tagged, but in any case, the car is damaged there against the inside wall. Let's take a look at our Western Auto race summary. Ken Schrader has led 22 of the 240 laps. We've had 12 caution periods that have lasted for 56 laps. 18 cars remain on the lead lap, and the average speed is a relatively slow 79.74 miles an hour. Our lap leaders have included Brett Bodine, the pole sitter, Ken Schrader, Gant, Earnhardt, and Rusty Wallace. Out of the race, Labonte, Gibbs, Brett Bodine, and Rick Wilson. Now, our Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standings. Waddell Wilson is on top, but by just 2 over Larry McReynolds. Tony Glover from Ernie Irvin's crew is in third in the standings, then Andy Petrie with Harry Gant, and Kirk Shelmerdine from the Dale Earnhardt crew is in 5th position in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Race Award. Now, our in-car camera with Alan Kowicki and his incident.
We're going in turn 3 now. We're going to be coming off turn 4 in just a second.
I believe the back end just went out from under him coming off the turn. He was down on the inside, and it looked like it just broke loose.
Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Alan has stepped out of the car and walked across. First of all, Alan, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
What happened out there?
Well, I got together with that number 1 car coming off the fourth turn. We bumped and I ended up spinning out.
Obviously not happy here, talking with the crew, and they are moving the car back around. Alan will try to get the car fixed, but pretty heavy contact out here for the Hooters Ford Thunderbird. Gentlemen?
Well, we talked about the short track season in our very open of the show, and we have had numerous examples of how tight it is on a short track in NASCAR racing. We'll be right back. Caution, we should be getting the green flag this next time around. Now, the Big A Auto Parts on-track interval, before we had this most recent caution, we timed 4 consecutive laps by Ken Schrader and Dale Earnhardt. Look how consistent Ken Schrader was. All 4 laps at 20 seconds. There was a little bit of variation in Dale Earnhardt's laps, but that can be explained because he was running in traffic when we timed those laps. But he is gaining, and as we retake the green flag and the race resumes. He is in third position behind the leader Ken Schrader and Mark Martin.
And here's Ricky Rudd trying to get that lap back once again. And he does move out in front of Kenny Schrader.
Also, Morgan Shepard in the 15 is a lap down. He wants to get back in front of Schrader so he can get a lap back. Oh, and here comes a 20 car bumping with Earnhardt at 12 turn 4.
The 20 car is Bobby Hillin.
Look at Ernie Irvin moving on the outside. He's in fourth position, running right alongside third place Earnhardt. And down the backstretch, Ernie is strong up on that high side.
And Morgan Shepard did get by Ken Schrader. Now he's in the lead lap.
And Ernie Irvin is second.
Earnhardt has got himself tied behind Mark Martin there and just couldn't go anywhere, and Ernie just motored right on by him on the outside.
Now Earnhardt's going to go on the outside and try to overtake Mark Martin.
Good battle for the lead, good battle for third. Here's Earnhardt about to take third away from Mark Martin, and Irvin has the lead.
Get it on the outside.
And now Dale Earnhardt will try that high line.
I said, boy, that works good for Ernie. Let me try it down there. Out there, I should say.
Now Earnhardt looks to the inside of Schrader coming off turn 4. Ernie Irvin is in the lead. He finished second last week, of course, at Bristol in a really tight race with Wallace. Now Earnhardt to the low side of Schrader. Dale is second. The fastest car on the track may be the 98 car of Jimmy Spencer.
We've seen him get a lap back.
He is sixth.
He passed Brett Bodine earlier in the day, got the lap back, and as you said, moved up to sixth.
A lot of damage on the right front of that car, but it isn't slowing him down. He goes inside of Bobby Hillin in the number 20 car. That yellow car, number 30, the Pennzoil machine, is Michael Waldrop, and he is on the lead lap also.
In sixth spot. There's fifth spot, Jimmy Spencer. And there's fourth spot.
Boy, he is taking that car for a good ride. He's right up on the back bumper of Mark Martin.
And goes right inside Martin.
Boy, he's got fourth.
This is the type of racetrack that Jimmy Spencer grew up on in the modifieds up in the Northeast and around Pennsylvania. Tracks that are very, very familiar to him.
His best finish this year was last weekend at Bristol. He was eighth.
Now Spencer hopes that those fellows can even stay in front of Ernie Irvin, those lap cars of Rudd and Morgan Shepard, while he dispenses a Schrader, which he's trying to do, and does down in turn 1.
That's unbelievable. Jimmy Spencer has moved to third. His next option is Dale Earnhardt. Here's the interval. There's Dale. He doesn't have far to go to catch him.
Earnhardt, Spencer, and still our leader is Ernie Irvin, who is caught up behind a couple of cars trying to stay in the same lap.
Earnhardt has had a bad handling race car. He was involved in a spin, but never count him out of a race anywhere, especially on a track like this. Earnhardt is second, and Spencer is charging in third. Let's go to John Kernan for more on Jimmy Spencer.
An interesting thing about Jimmy Spencer, earlier in the race, whenever he got a lap down, they were in here pitting. They got 3 new tires on, but on the left rear, they couldn't get the lug nut off. They went out, came back around. They still could not change the left rear tire. So he had to run until another pit stop with that old left rear tire on and 3 other new tires before they could finally get the lug nut unstuck off and change the tires. But it doesn't look like it has affected his run today, as he is charged to the front, making up laps for the second week in a row.
Boy, he sure is, and he is now within a car length and a half of second place Dale Earnhardt. Jimmy Spencer from Berwick, Pennsylvania, in the Travis Carter car.
He has caught Earnhardt. He's just feet away from Earnhardt now as he comes off turn 4. And as we watch this battle for second place, let me remind you that Ernie Irvan, our leader, is still hung up behind those slow cars.
They say slow cars, those cars that were a lap down.
Watch
Morgan
this now.
Shepherd and Ricky Rudd.
Spencer's going to try him on the outside. Off of turn 4, he's got it. Spencer is in second position. Unbelievable.
Mr. Excitement.
His best finish in a Winston Cup race is 8th. He has finished in 8th position on 2 different occasions.
One of which was last week, wasn't it?
That is correct, at Bristol.
There's our leader, Ernie Irvan, behind Morgan Shepherd and Ricky Rudd directly in front of him. 2 cars, as Ned said, trying to get a lap back.
And Irvan has been trying to get around those 2 guys for the last few laps, but has not been able to. And meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer is closing in. Big A Auto Parts on-track interval between the leader, Irvan, and Spencer. And you can see that we timed 5 different laps. That's the column on the left. Irvan's lap times, then Spencer's lap time, and the interval. You can see that Jimmy Spencer is faster than Irvan, and he has reduced the interval but 2.8 seconds on lap 260 to 2.3 seconds on lap 263. And we're now at lap 271, and it's even closer than that.
Jimmy Spencer drives for Travis Carter, the owner of this team and a former crew chief of mine. And I know Travis has been under some fire for the last few years. This great run is doing him some good today, I know.
More on Jimmy Spencer again from John Kernan.
Well, this week, because of the rules change, Goodyear was caught just a little bit short on the Goodyear radials. They had enough to give each of the 33 teams a total 7 sets over the weekends. They gave 2 sets to practice on Friday, 5 after qualifying yesterday. Well, as I look around behind Jimmy Spencer's pit, you see some tires from Brett Bodine, who was knocked out of the race earlier. Also some tires from Terry Labonte, who has since retired to the garage area. A little wheeling and dealing to make sure that they have enough sticker tires left to go the distance in this race.
Well, Ernie Irvan has put Ricky Rudd a lap down again, and Jimmy Spencer continues to close in on the leader, Irvan.
Rudd now trying to move back on the inside of Ernie Irvan. Can't quite do it.
Here's Jeff Bodine in number 11 and Michael Waldrop in 30. That's the battle for 4th place. Bodine takes 4th from Michael. And that's Mark Martin just behind Michael Waldrop. Mark Martin in the Folgers car number 6. Now the 98 car of Spencer is also putting Ricky Rudd a lap down. May have got a tap there slightly, but kept control. And now Jimmy Spencer is within just a couple of feet of Ernie Irvan.
Boy, this is, look, I mean, he is really a fast car, and he just might try it on the inside. Is he going, Bob?
I think he is. We've seen many incidents of contact right here. Oh, Spencer with a little bit of...
He nailed that gas. You know, he's never been in this position before, Jimmy. You got to calm down a little bit. I mean, there's still over 100 laps to go.
Patience is what he needs more than anything right now. Again, he goes to the inside of Ernie Irvan in the 3rd turn. As they come out of turn number 4, Jimmy is going to lead this lap. As they cross the line, he was at about a bumper ahead of Ernie Irvan, but Ernie fights back on the high side of the racetrack. Jimmy Spencer is the leader.
Cleared the 4 going into the turn. No problem.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him just drive away as quick as that car has been. Meanwhile, Rudd is on the inside of Ernie Irvan trying to get in front of him.
Ricky Rudd is in 20th position, a lap down.
Here comes Earnhardt. This is for 2nd spot. He in the 4 car, the 3 and the 4. The 5, as you said, is a lap down.
sticks his car on the inside. Erwin Rudd is there also. Now Dale moves alongside of Ernie. Gets a half car length ahead of Irvin and passes him. Earnhardt is second. Boy, we have seen some excitement in this race. We have seen a lot of good racing. Jimmy Spencer, there he is in the Banquet Frozen Foods car, has the lead of the First Union 400 with 118 more laps to go. We hope you're enjoying our coverage of the First Union 400 from North Wilkesboro. Jimmy Spencer leads the First Union 400 here in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway. Dale Earnhardt second, followed by Ernie Irvin, Jeff Bodine, and Michael Waltrip. We've completed 298 of the 400 laps. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Oldsmobile. Stop by your Oldsmobile dealer and see what's new from the new generation of Olds. By Kodacolor Gold Film, show your true colors. And by Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every NASCAR Winston Cup team. Jimmy Spencer continues to lead the First Union 400. There he is, trying to put another lap on Richard Petty, who has shown 1 lap down, now 2 laps down in 21st position. And in second place, as the standings have changed just in the last couple of minutes, Jeff Bodine has moved up to second place in the Budweiser Ford, and he could be the fastest car on the racetrack, Ned.
Yeah, I think he is. He flew by Dale Earnhardt not too long ago and has moved away a little bit from him. He's about 3 8/10 seconds behind Jimmy Spencer, so he's not gaining too much on the leader.
So that puts Dale Earnhardt now back to third place. Here comes Ernie Irvin in fourth. Now, he lost several positions a while ago, dropped from first back to fourth, but he is headed toward the front once again.
You better not look behind him because we just saw a glimpse of a red bumper. That's Darrell Waltrip. He stopped, put on some tires. There's Darrell, the second car behind the yellow Ford, the Western Auto Chevrolet, and he has the freshest tires of any of these cars. And here's something to remember. Darrell Waltrip, as Ned pointed out, I think during the break, he can go the rest of the way on the fuel he has. These other cars are going to have to stop.
Yep, Dale Jarrett came in at the same time that Darrell Waltrip did. Darrell now running in the 5th position. Jarrett has moved up to 6th. Michael Waltrip has brought back to 7th. Harry Gant is 8th. Davey Allison in the 9th position. And Mark Martin has dropped all the way to 10th. He was up there near the front not too long ago.
So Darrell Waltrip may have, among other things, there's the 21 car of Dale Jarrett. And it has been right up there in contention all day.
That's a roof camera. You see that thing right in the center of the roof? That's what we're seeing from the roof camera.
And you don't see any pictures from that right now because the helicopter, which is necessary to get the signal from that back to our receiver on the ground, the helicopter is necessary, and right now it's refueling. And Michael Waltrip, Harry Gant, and Davey Allison are involved in the battle here. This is 7th, 8th, and 9th.
I think Michael's tires are getting very used. And Harry Gant made a pit stop at the same time Dale Jarrett and Darrell Waltrip did, but he has dropped back a little behind them, but about to pass Michael Waltrip for the 7th position here. Davey Allison, he also took on new tires at the same time those other drivers did. So he moves into the 8th position, drops Michael back to 9th.
Harry Gant has led this race. Davey Allison has had a couple of incidents, but is right in there. Now the 21 car of Dale Jarrett is right alongside Ernie Irvin, and as they go into 3, Dale Jarrett moves to 5th position. Now there's Darrell Waltrip in 4th.
Darrell passed Ernie just 2 laps ago. And Jarrett gets by, so Ernie's tires heated up a little bit. Here's Gant moving on the outside of Dave Marcus. And Davey Allison hanging in there in the car number 28.
Gant closes in on Irvin.
6th and 7th we see on the screen. Irvin in 6th, Gant in 7th.
Gant really is getting a good bite off the corner. Looks inside Ernie down the back straightaway. This is going in turn 3. Ernie takes a spot away.
And up and down day for Davey Allison, the Haviland Ford. There he is. Involved in a couple of incidents, but he is in 8th position. And behind him is the 30 car of Michael Waltrip.
Michael moving backwards a little bit now as his tires are heated up, and in the pits is Derek Cope in the Purelator Chevrolet.
71 car of Dave Marcus is not on the lead lap. He's 23rd, but Mark Martin in car 6 is in 10th position. We hear that Mark Martin should be coming in for his what should be final pit stop in about 5 laps.
Now that's going to hurt him if he has to stop under green. There's some other cars that are going to have to stop under green as well. And most of the drivers have been able to make their pit stops during caution flag periods here today. Only those who have had unscheduled stops because of flats or some other reason have stopped under green.
There are 88 laps to go, by the way. There are a couple of lap cars.
That black and red car is Dick Trickle. Rick Mast in the Skoll car.
Here comes the 25 of Ed Schrader. The 34, by the way, of Dick Trickle is on the lead lap. He's 11th, and this is Schrader in 12th.
And Schrader's another car that's going to have to pit pretty doggone soon. He and Mark Martin stopped at the same time.
Now the 21 car of Jarrett has moved to 4th.
Past the Darrell Walters car.
He might be one of the faster cars on the track, fellas. He's full of fuel and can go the rest of the way. In fact, he has picked up about 3/4 of a second on Jimmy Spencer in the last 5 laps. That is Dale Jarrett. So he's certainly one of the faster cars on the track.
5th and 6th right here. Waltrip and Gant.
Here's Kyle Petty coming down pit road. This is a green flag pit stop for him. He had gone a lap down on the racetrack, but he's coming in now for what should be his last stop, and Jerry Punch is there.
Indeed, and the final stop of the day for the Mellow Yellow crew as they will change right side tires. Remember, under the green flag, they don't really have a luxury of wanting to change all 4 tires, although they will here because 4 fresh tires are such an advantage on the racetrack. Left, right side tires are already on. Now left side tires going on as the field now passes by in turn 1. Kyle Petty getting his service completed by Gary Nelson's crew. 23.3 seconds, and he is down and away.
Kyle Petty drops to 19th position, but gains speed as he goes down the backstretch.
Now that race car will feel good to him when he goes back on the track with those new tires on it.
Yeah, there's our leader on the left of our screen is Jeff Bodine, is Jimmy Spencer. That's Lake Speed in the middle, and that is Jeff Bodine in the 11 car. How many times did he spin early on in the race? Twice?
Yeah, at least twice, and he was one of those you think, well, it's not going to be his afternoon, but don't count him out.
He has come from 3.8 seconds behind, fellas, to that distance you see right there on the screen, which is less than a second.
And the 98 car, Jimmy Spencer, needs a pit stop before long. He will have to give up the lead to come in for a stop. And Jeff Bodine in number 11 is running in 2nd position. His brother, who was the pole sitter of this race, dropped out a few laps ago after making contact with the 3rd turn wall. We'll be right back. Back in North Wilkesboro, Richard Petty has spun in turn number 1, but it comes at a great time for several drivers because they needed pit stops, and here come those running up front into the pits.
Well, let's just see what kind of advantage it is. John Kerners is down in Jimmy Spencer's pit.
They are going to work on the right side. Right side tires are on. It will be a 4-tire change. They were anticipating having to stop 40 to 30 laps from the end. Jimmy motioning. He may be blocked in just a little bit by Davey Allison, so that may hinder his exit time. They will go to work on the left side. He is backing down. Now gets away. Let's go down pit road to the Jeff Bodine pits and Jerry Punch.
Right side tires already on, John, and putting the left side tires on the Budweiser Ford. A great break for Bodine. He would have had to pit under green at about 12 to 14 laps. He is down and away, and Jimmy Spencer has just gone by. Here's Davey Allison, Dale Earnhardt likewise pitting down here, and Dale Jarrett, all of them having gotten 4 fresh tires.
Well, we have seen some real discipline on pit road today, I'll tell you.
That's what I was trying to point out when I got my mouth so confused trying to throw it to John Kernan, but you see, Jimmy Spencer was pitting all the way at one end of pit road, and Dale Earnhardt was pitting at the other end of pit road. Under the new rules, I wanted to see who was going to have the advantage. Spencer had about an advantage of about 1 second.
Because he didn't have to follow the pace car down pit road slowly.
That's right.
Okay, so the leaders have made their pit stops. We're at lap 324, and we'll be back with more after this. Well, Buffet Benny didn't visit a restaurant this time here in North Wilkesboro, but that doesn't mean that he didn't find the very best cooking in this part of the country. Just down the road, the Johnsons, Juniors, and Flossies.
All right, now, Jeff Bodine, you grew up in New York. I grew up in Wilkes County, the north end of this county. I'm going to show you what I have for breakfast 7 days a week, 365 days a year, for 18 years. Biscuits, gravy, eggs, and some meat from the hog.
Well, I'm an old country boy too, Benny, you know.
Wait.
And I ate good at breakfast, but it didn't affect me quite like it did you.
Oh, Flossie, this is exactly the way I remember it, and please, invite me back again sometime, will you?
What's cooking, Benny? Well, the hot and heavy action is on the racetrack. They've run a half lap under green. Jimmy Spencer has the lead. The 42 car is a lap down. Second place car is Jeff Bodine, which little Benny had breakfast at Junior Flossing the other morning. And we had dinner at Ned Jarrett's house last night, which is very far from North Wilkesboro, and some fine cooking and some great hospitality, and we all salute you and Martha, Ned.
That was all her doing, so I was sure as far as the cooking part was concerned.
Davey Allison's got his car going pretty doggone good. He's up to third spot now, moves on the inside of Kyle Petty to put him a lap down to him. Here comes Darrell Walter by Kyle, and there comes Earnhardt on the outside of Ricky Rudd.
Rudd is a lap down in 15th position. Here's the roof cam on Dale Jarrett's car as we got the helicopter back in the air. And Jarrett is no slouch today, I'll tell you.
Car's running good. He's in 6th place right now, trying to move around Ricky Rudd on the outside, but can't quite do it. Move down to the inside. He sees Kyle Petty up there, so he figures Rudd will pass him on the inside, so maybe he can do that as well.
Great battle here. Jeff Bodine, the 28 of Allison, and the 17 of Darrell Waltrip, and there is no luck loss between Allison and Waltrip. Oh, a couple of cars spin.
Davey and Jeff come together, and they come right back down.
And Harry Gann is collected. That's a tough break for Harry, who thought he had things made. He's back going again, so he may not have hurt the car very much. And Junior is looking for Jeff.
Jeff has got some heavy damage to the rear of that car.
He hit it pretty good. Oh, what's going on there?
Well, Jeff started to take off, and Davey did too, and they didn't see each other, so they just rammed into each other again and did more damage.
Yep, he has bad damage down to the rear end of that car, and Jeff Bodine
trying to stay in the lead lap. He's trying to stay in the lead lap. He don't know how much damage there is.
And the penalty box is apparently going to be showed to Jeff Bodine.
Wow, this heavy spot. I guess that's the left rear tire rubbing that quarter panel back there.
This has been a very unusual race.
And it looks as the car going to make it around.
I think they opened the gate for him on the backstretch. I don't know why they would do that, but he has stopped. Here it is again in replay.
Well, Davey down on the inside and Jeff on the outside, and Jeff gets hit. And around they go.
Almost identical to that problem we have with Ricky Rudd and Brett Bodine, Jeff's brother.
We've seen so many incidents, and there's Harry Gann making contact with Jeff Bodine. Now, here's what happened as the two tried to get headed in the right direction, and you can see that there was contact again between Jeff Bodine and Davey Allison, and Jeff Bodine apparently will visit the penalty box.
Fellas, I think that situation that we saw at the end there, I think that was an accident. I don't believe that there was any intentional running into each other. That's just a personal opinion.
Apparently NASCAR is talking it over, so let's not draw any conclusions. In any case, the 11 car is headed for the garage area.
Well, the damage on it would necessitate that, I think. Looks like there's enough to send him in there.
I don't think he could continue on.
See the 25 car of Kenny Schrader in the pits making the left side tire change.
From Dale Jarrett's roof cam, real time. Watch and listen. Oh, Dale threaded the needle real nice. Another caution period, the 15th on North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway at lap 3:35. Back after this. Of the First Union 400 at North Wilkesboro, the leader is Jimmy Spencer, followed by Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett is fourth, and Michael Waltrip is running in fifth. Our Speed World coverage being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is One Tough Motor Oil. By Murray Mowers, tough as they come. And by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. We're about to go green from our 15th caution period of the day. Jimmy Spencer in car number 98 is the leader of the race. Ricky Rudd still trying to get that lap back. Look at the charge being made by Darrell Waltrip in 17. Dale Earnhardt is the third place car, number 3.
Spencer really ran Rudd down close to the apron that time and dispensed of him.
Rudd is 13th. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Jeff Bodine.
Jeff, the car seemed to be hooked up so well and really coming to the front and then a tough break. What happened out there?
Hasn't been a good day for the Bodines, has it? Brett got put out early, and I guess Davey ran into him. I think that's who it was. And spun me around and hit the wall pretty hard. I was trying to get going and got hit a couple more times. Car sits over here in a pile. Looks like it did last week after Bristol, but yeah, the car's running good. That's encouraging. You know, we're smiling. It was a good run for us. I wish we were still out there trying to get that win. I think we could have won. That would have been a good race. Jimmy Spencer's running a heck of a race. Maybe this is his day to get his first win. Now that I'm out, I hope he does.
You guys tried to refire the cars, I guess, simultaneously over there to get back to pit road and still had some contact?
Yeah, we were just trying to get going, kept getting in each other's way again, but, you know, you do that sometimes, but it's unfortunate, but let's go watch the race. It's going to be interesting.
Jeff Bodine able to smile here, even though his car has gone away and he had a shot at winning. Gentlemen?
Jeff Bodine out of the race, but he'll be back next time. Jimmy Spencer leads by about a half a car length over Darrell Waltrip, who now looks to the inside of Jimmy as the cars come off of turn number 2.
Darrell's awful good. He's on the inside. Oh, Spencer chopped him off.
He had a notion, but backed off when he saw Spencer headed toward the inside. Darrell trying everything he can.
He's going to the outside.
Well, that'll be an interesting pass.
Let's see if he can pull this off. They rubbed just a little bit in turn number 2. Now they race down the backstretch. If Waltrip has the faster car, he should be able to make the pass. He pulls dead even with Jimmy Spencer as they come off of turn number 4. Boy, right at the line, they were exactly even. Waltrip with a half a car length advantage now and may have him as they come off of 2.
And once that 17 go up the backstretch, fellas, he has the horsepower.
Those fellas down at Hendrick Engines, building the engine for that 17 car.
Only 3 races remain before the running of the Winston, and Darrell Waltrip is one of the former champions of this division who would like to be in that race come Charlotte, and he may get his chance today. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
And they are experimenting with a brand new chassis setup here. Actually, it's not a new chassis. It's the Banjo Matthews front steer chassis that has the struts on it. It's something that you saw Bill Elliott and some of the other guys run last year. This is the first one that Darrell Waltrip has been able to buy and put together and race. And I think that he must be sold after this performance today.
He hasn't won since September of 1989.
Trouble going into turn 3, maybe, but they get him straightened out. Kyle Petty and Davey Allison are all over each other up the backstretch into turn 3. They're not separated yet. Now they are, and Kyle Petty comes down pit road, and there's debris on the racetrack, so the caution will apply. Wow.
Here they come off the corner. They'll be racing to the caution flag. Waltrip will win it. 16 caution periods so far today.
Jimmy Spencer didn't need this caution flag. His car seems to run better as the race wears on under green flag conditions. But
here's a replay of Kyle and Davey getting together.
Yeah, it looked like their cars were just tied together. They couldn't get loose from each other. Other cars go by on the outside, including Kyle's dad, Richard. Then Davey comes in there again, pushing on Kyle as they go into the turn. Finally, Kyle just heads on down pit road, so let me get out of this.
One of the words we used in the open of the show was frustrating. That's what a short track can be when the car is running so well, but things happen.
Evidently they're holding Kyle Petty.
Well, he made a pit stop before the pit road was open, so
okay.
Now pit road is open. I guess he can go ahead and pit.
Here it is from another angle.
Well, Kenny Schrader was down there too. I don't know what happened on that deal, but
they're off the racetrack there. Well, in any case, the caution flag is out once again in a very interesting and unusual First Union 400. Waldrop leads the pack down out of turn number 4 to resume the race on lap 356. Waldrop leads. Spencer is second. Then Dale Earnhardt. Then Michael Waldrop and Dale Jarrett.
The 12 car, the blue and white car, the Rebecca's Buick is Hud Strickland. He's a lap down, as is the 1 car, Rick Mast, in the Oldsmobile.
Strickland was the 16th. Rick Mast is 13th.
12 cars now being shown on the lead lap.
Waldrop beginning to pull away a little bit from Spencer.
This car is really fast on these restarts, Darrell Waltrop's.
Spencer's car seems to work. It runs for a while under green flag conditions.
Ooh, a little contact there between Michael Waldrop and number 30 and Dale Earnhardt. Here's a pack of cars. There's Dick Trickle at number 34. We haven't talked about him much today, but he has been on the lead lap all afternoon. And right now he's behind Dale Jarrett, and he is in 6th place.
I believe that'll be 7th place because Morgan Shepherd just moved into the 5th around Dale Jarrett. Dale got hung up on the outside of leg speed. He couldn't get around him.
And we look back on Dick Trickle to the left, and that's Richard Petty to the right. From the Citgo in-car camera, carried by Dale Jarrett.
Trickle's slips coming off the corner. Keeps the car under control.
By the way, Richard Petty is 19th. The 15 car of Morgan Shepherd has also had a pretty strong day.
He just come back from a lap down and a car that was not handling too good in the early part of the race, but they made adjustments on it. Running good now.
Lake Speed is 14th. That's the car just ahead of Dale Jarrett as we look from the cam again.
Now Jarrett's car is another one of those that he needs to run long green flag periods. The car is a little bit tight on the restarts and takes a little while for it to come in.
In-car camera from Lake Speed. You see Dale passing and Trickle also. Up front, meanwhile, it is still Darrell Waltrip and Jimmy Spencer. Race strategy, John Kernan.
During that last caution, Jimmy had radioed in, and even though Darrell could beat him on the restarts, he thought that if he could get about 10 laps on the tires, get some heat into the tires, that he would really hook up, and said he was confident enough that he could run down Waltrip and pass him and win this race. To talk about some confidence, it's been building since last week, since they made up those 2.5 laps to come back and finish in the top 10.
Well, there's no question that he is moving in on Darrell Waltrip. He has reduced the interval. The last win you saw shot up Travis Carter there just a few minutes ago. The last win for Travis was here at North Wilkesboro, 1985, September, and Harry Gant was the driver. Here's Jarrett, the 4 car of Ernie Irvin, and Trickle in 34.
6th, 7th, and 8th.
Ernie stopped on that last caution flag, put on 4 fresh tires, so that's one reason his car is running as well as it is right now.
Ooh, Jerry got a little loose coming off the turn, and Trickle shot all the way up on the inside as Ernie Irvin had to back off. There's Bill Elliott. He's in the lead lap. Here comes Kenny Slater. Back in there's Mark Martin. A lot of cars dabbing from about 6th through 10th. Uh-oh. The 4 car and the 34 car come together. Dale Jarrett goes into the wall. He gets tagged.
Ernie Irvin is in the wall. Dale Jarrett hit it hard, and Dick Trickle also involved. The race to the caution flag won by Darrell Waltrip. Well, another bad break for Dale Jarrett, who had the car running well, but it ends against the wall, and there is Dick Trickle, whose machine is also badly damaged.
Some heavy damage to Dale's car. He's moving around in the car, so
let's see it again.
Here they come off in turn 4.
Just Trickle tried to go to the inside to get in the groove. Ernie was there. They made contact. They both spin. Dale tried to avoid the crash, just never could get the car back under control.
And from another angle,
Ernie's on the inside. As I said, he had some fresh tires. Trickle's going down to the inside. Ernie touches him in the left rear.
And meanwhile, Jarrett spins and hits the wall hard with the left front corner of the car.
Bad break for Jimmy Spencer, because now there's going to be about 20-25 laps to go. And
yep, just when you were talking about, you guys were talking about, John Kernan mentioned how he runs much better after several green laps. Now we go back to caution again, and there aren't going to be very many green laps when we go back to race conditions. By the way, this is the roof cam that's still working, and there is the good news that we've been waiting for. Dale Jarrett walking away from his badly battered Citgo Ford.
You know, Bob, we'll watch the in-car of Dale Jarrett, and then I have a little story I want to tell you as he goes into turn 1.
Here's the roof cam.
Oh, boy, and the lights went out when he hit that wall. Dale's mother only wants to watch the race on one place on the racetrack. She wants me to park so she can see one spot on the racetrack. Today, she's down in between turn 1 and 2. She's not 40 feet from where he hit that wall. And sitting there watching that, so I know that she had some anxious moments.
She's very glad, as we all are, to see him walking away from the crash. 372 laps completed here at North Wilkesboro. Caution flag of the afternoon because of this incident. We're riding with Dale Jarrett in his roof cam.
Ernie Irvin and Dick Trickle get together, and Dale Jarrett tried to miss those fellows, lost control, and just never could get the car back under control.
Here we go. The green flag is out once again. There are 21 laps to go.
Boy, Darrell Waltrip got a good jump on the restart.
And Dale Earnhardt is going to take second away. Jimmy Spencer got a little high and maybe hit that oil dry out there.
Oh, this won't work, fellas. Somebody better back off.
3 abreast.
Well, Jimmy Spencer backed off enough there to fall in behind Earnhardt.
Earnhardt has second place. Jimmy Spencer is third. The 12 cars a lap down in 14th. That's on Strickland.
Well, that's what Darrell Waltrip needed to win this race. Even if Jimmy Spencer is faster than Earnhardt, it's going to take him enough time to get by. He'll never catch this car. Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell has run good all day long. We've mentioned that several times. Kept his nose clean and made good pit stops. Spencer getting loose coming off the turn. The one thing you have to be careful of being not overdrive the race car. He's get overly excited because he's brought back to dirt.
That's right, because they say, I've never driven on radials, but they tell me that when you get these things hot, they just will not come back like a bias-flat tire.
18 to go. Darrell Waltrip looking for his first win in almost 2 years. Mark Martin, Davey Allison, Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott are all going for position.
Mark Martin running 6th, that's 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
And our Phillips 66 in-car camera, Lake Speed right behind this pack of cars. Martin came into this race 4th in the point standings. Our in-the-pack coverage, 6 through 9, Martin, Allison, Michael, and Elliott. And Elliott has had problem after problem today, including the very poor start, but he has run a good race.
He been a lap down 2 different times and has made them up and got back in the lead lap. Here's Michael and Davey getting together a little bit. Michael backs off, lets him get traction again, but Bill Elliott is up on the outside of Michael Waltrip as they go into turn 3.
Jeff Hammond, the crew chief on Darrell Waltrip's car, has been named the Western Auto Mechanic of the race last week. There's Jeff. Congratulations from all of us at ESPN. Last week, we did not mention it, but Larry McReynolds on Davey Allison's crew was the winner of the Western Auto Mechanic of the race. Second and third right here, Spencer. Now, we've mentioned that the car runs better when he's been out there and running under green, and it is coming back to him. He's challenging Dale Earnhardt for second place with 13 laps to go.
Darrell Waltrip is just pulling away from him, though.
There is Darrell. And the interval back to second and third. It will be Jimmy Spencer's best finish ever in a Winston Cup race. Now we go back to this other battle. Schrader, Martin, Rick Mast, Davey Allison, Michael Waltrip. Ricky Rudd is in there along with Bill Elliott.
Rudd is a lap down, so is Rick Mast, who's running to 1. Ken Schrader running 5th, Mark Martin in 6th place, Davey Allison 7th, Michael Waltrip 8th, and Bill Elliott 9th to match his car number.
See, Mast just can't move over and let those guys go. If he does, he's going to lose that position to Ricky Rudd, so he has to run hard.
10 laps to go. 10 laps to go. I believe that Darrell Waltrip has himself a victory.
If nothing happens to that Western Auto Chevrolet, he has himself a good enough lead now.
And this will be, of course, his first victory since those injuries at Daytona last year knocked him out of competition for a while.
And more importantly, his first victory as an owner.
That's right.
Because he is the owner of that Western Auto Chevrolet. Bought it from, he didn't buy it from Rick Hendrick. I started to say he bought the team. That's not true. Yo, look at this.
Oh, Mark Martin is getting past here. There was some contact among those cars. Now Davey Allison and Michael Waltrip are down on the inside as Mark Martin is caught out on the high side. Boy, there are a lot of battle scars being shown by many, many cars. As there are just 8 more laps to go in this first Union 400.
We're going to have 4 cars side by side here in just a second. Bill Elliott's going to choose to go with Mark Martin and hopes that something would happen. He would be able to get by.
That's 5th through 9th, and we're watching those 5 cars.
All battling for position.
Now, Michael, he's going to go on the outside just because Bill's out there.
Yeah, you got to drive defensively as well as offensively when you get in the middle like Mark Waltrip did.
Next time around, it will be 5 more laps to go. Darrell Waltrip, 9 career wins at this racetrack. He has been in victory lane 79 times in Winston Cup competition. There is Dale Earnhardt. His last 4 finishes, of course, last week at Bristol, he had a problem, finished 20th. Jimmy Spencer now dropping back a little bit.
Spencer just absolutely driving the wheels off that car right now, trying to make up that lost ground. And the faster he goes, the slower he's getting.
4 to go for Darrell Waltrip.
Earnhardt is gaining a little bit on him, but I think Darrell is driving very, very conservative now. He is not wanting to make any mistakes whatsoever. Meanwhile, Earnhardt is also driving the wheels off of his Chevrolet.
As we watch Darrell Waltrip, the leader in Winston Cup points, Ricky Rudd is 11th. Second place in Winston Cup points going into this event, Ernie Irvin is in 10th. And Dale Earnhardt, who was 3rd in Winston Cup points, is 2nd. So we will see a shuffle of the point standings again after this event. Here is Darrell Waltrip coming off the corner with 2 laps to go. Next time, he'll get the white flag.
Nothing in front of Darrell to cause him any kind of concern.
Just one more time around the 5/8 mile oval at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and Darrell Waltrip will win his first race in September of 1989. There's Jeff Hammond, who has already been named mechanic of the race, hoping that his driver can hold on for just a half lap. Now he's in turn number 4. Darrell Waltrip comes down and wins the first Union 400 at North Wilkesboro.
Tell you what, there's a happy crew. I was over there back in January when those guys were working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. He went to work at 7 in the morning, and they got off at 7 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. So they've earned this victory.
And this is the 5th time in 7 races this year that Darrell Waltrip has been in the top 10. But this is the big one, the victory for the Western Auto Chevrolet and Darrell Waltrip. We'll be back to talk with him in Victory Lane after this.
And DW has done it, and you're back. Congratulations on a super run.
Well, thank the Lord for a great day, and we prayed a lot for this, and it finally happened. And thank Western Auto. They're the greatest sponsor I've ever had, and AC Delco and Exxon Motor Oils and Goodyear Tires. What a wonderful day. We just had fun all day, and we run good, stayed out of trouble. Jeff and the crew just did a wonderful job in the pits, Jake and Doug and everybody back home and working. And I knew we were close. I knew we were close at Darlington. Then I knew we were close at Bristol. But I said, golly, are we just ever going to keep getting close and never pull one off? But today was the day, and I'm so happy. This is better than Daytona. I don't care if it ain't Daytona. I love it.
He's not happy at all. He's like, oh, look at this. The Darrell Waltrip shuffle. Oh, wait a minute. There's a little metal in that leg. Now, hey, you think the car owner will be pretty happy?
Hey, I asked the boys, I said, how's the car look? He said, it ain't got a scratch on it. I said, man, I might get a raise.
His first win as a car owner, and hey, you don't have to share this with anybody. This is yours.
Well, yeah, I wish that was true, but, there's a lot of folks that are hoping I'd win a race real soon to help that old bank account out. I made one mistake when I started in my race team. I started with a small fortune.
Darrell Waltrip in Victory Lane with wife Stevie and Jessica, and a big hug from Jeff Hammond, the crew chief of the Western Auto Chevrolet. Back up to you, Bob.
Well, a great win for Darrell Waltrip. Second place went to Dale Earnhardt. Then Jimmy Spencer was third in his best finish ever in a Winston Cup race. Morgan Shepherd finishes in the top 10 again, and Ken Schrader wound up in 5th position. This was, as we continue to say throughout the broadcast, one of the most unusual races here at North Wilkesboro I think we've ever seen.
17 caution flags had to be a record, Bob. There's just no way, because normally at North Wilkesboro you're looking at 6-7 caution flags maximum.
Nobody was injured, however. That is the good news as we continue to show the rundown. Charlie Glotz back in substitution for Sterling Marlin, who did start the race and pick up the points, finished in 27th position. A tough afternoon for the Bodine brothers. Jeff was crashed out, and also Brett Bodine was eliminated in an accident after starting this race from the pole position. Now, as far as the point standings are concerned, look at Darrell Waltrip. He has moved to 5th place in the point standings. Ricky Rudd continues to hold on to the lead. Earnhardt goes back to 2nd place, and Ernie Irvin goes to 3rd. Mark Martin is 4th in points as he was going in, and Darrell Waltrip, for this win here at North Wilkesboro this afternoon, is in 5th position. Next week, we'll be back to our live coverage of Winston Cup racing from Martinsville, Virginia, and the Haynes 500. Our airtime is at 12:30 Eastern Time next Sunday afternoon. So Darrell Waltrip wins here at North Wilkesboro in the First Union 400. My thanks to Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch. Don't forget Speed Week next Saturday night at 7:30. We'll see you next Sunday for more Winston Cup racing. We leave you this afternoon with the sounds of Victory Lane. So long, everyone.